What happened? Oh, that one. Oh yeah, that one. The Spanish land grant. Yeah. Came across that. I was like,
okay, wait. You want to stand right there, and let me come over to the, because I think I tried to get you over that way. Outside of this.
the Spanish land grant. Yeah. Came across that. I was.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You can bring the blinds down.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I think it's.
Just for the moment. It's over here. Yes. Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
And then there was like,
I don't know much about it, but it's there. I'll show it to you in a second when I figure out how. All right, we want to get this started.
It's love.
Love. You live now? We're live?
Yeah, we're good. We're gonna start off with the prayer. Said we're which one?
East. I thought this was. Oh.
Let's take that corner there is the east.
yeah.
5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through his holy prophet. Noble Drew Ali. Islam. Ashe. We're here. Finally.
Hey. First inaugural vernal equinox event.
So this was our first inaugural vernal equinox yearly ceremony that we do, making sure that we give honors to the ancestors, give honors to all the gates, and keep the spirit and the energy of the Moorish history alive throughout the jurisdiction where we are,
and
quote unquote, Canada. Before we even go on, we're gonna bring our brother Jed, and he'll just do his 1-2, just the intro, give people a little new energy, new face or whatever like that. So we're gonna kick off right now, go for maybe about an hour and a half or something like that, and then do the.
But actually, yeah.
Yeah.
And then take a
little break, and then we'll.
While we're breaking and you're eating, then we can.
That's what I was thinking about.
Right.
Like I'll let him go now.
Yeah, and then
the other
break.
And then the break, I'll be able to be more.
Right. And then what happens is at that point, then you're eating and he's doing things, so it doesn't break for them.
Yeah.
So for now, this Islam's wall,
so maybe
Moors online, all the Moors worldwide, the dirty ones.
Islam too.
I like our man here. Give him.
We love y'all too, right?
Yeah. Islam.
We need you. Sooner the better, right?
Islam.
So so this is the Montreal east side. We're going from east to north to west to south, man. So we're gonna go
We're the east
around.
right now. That's right.
And it's my pleasure to present to MTL, Big Brother Cujo, Grand Sheik, man. Brought he helped me out a lot. So this is an honor for me also. And as I said to him, he's like, "Oh, so you ready? So you got your compoundment?" I'm like, "Oh man." I mean, you guys come. It's an honor. It's like such a a blessing. I'm like, it's like a treat for me. So yeah. So enjoy, you guys, and I'm gonna present some stuff here, and we'll see you soon.
Peace. Islam.
Peace. So like we did in at the Ottawa session, we think that it would be best to go over the judicial proclamation paperwork that the Moors use, so that way you can get a historical understanding as to why it is we're making this claim that we're not Negro, black, colored, but we're actually Moors. But instead of going into all this historical stuff, we're just going to deal with the paperwork that we use, so that way we could have a perspective. Yeah.
I was saying that maybe you'd be looking at this as from a question point of view, is what is the significance of the judicial proclamation, and what and how does it facilitate the thing that it does? Sort of vis-a-vis our who we are right now, who we're supposed to be, and why this is necessary.
Right. That's not coming up. Oh yeah, I forgot. All right. Moorish American. Moors have proclaimed and possessed the unalienable substantive rights and birthright, inheritance to our Almoroccan names and nationality by nature's law, divine law, primogeniture, and by recognized laws of nations of the earth, international. So this position that we're taking by saying that we're Moors and that we're not Negro black colored is to regain substantive rights and birthright that was taken away. Noble Drew Ali made reference to this in chapter 1 of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple. Let every living thing stand still and hear. Man is the Lord of all the plane of made manifest, or protoplast of mineral, of plant, of beast, but he given up his birthright just to gratify his lower self. But man will regain his lost estate, his heritage, but he must do it in a conflict that cannot be told in words. So we're recognizing that we're actually making a reclamation of something. Once we make that reclamation of what it is that we lost, now we have these substantive birthrights, substantive rights, and inheritance to these Moorish names, these Moorish titles, this vast estate, and being recognized by the laws of nations. One of the interesting topics we're dealing with for the weekend was Brother Patrick, who's a European, and coming to the realization that even amongst Europeans, they know that there's corruption on their side, that they don't even want to be tied to their own birthright, inheritance, or names, because they look back into their history and see all the dirt that they did. So they want to, quote unquote, new life in the new world, make a new life for himself, but not go back to that. Stick to the point that they made a new life and then move on from new life into the future of whatever, right? So because of the abandonment of the right that they had as quote unquote French, Britain took them over. Now they're under the jurisdiction of the Queen. But they have country, they have a land, they have a language, they have a culture, but because of them abandoning their right to be French and claiming French Canadian, Quebecois, Francophone, whatever it is that they're claiming, French American, right? They put themselves out of their standing as quote unquote French people who are in a different jurisdiction.
Which we do know the United States corporation is registered where?
France.
In France. So on top of it, they keep giving up their own whatever type of sovereignty they have.
Right. So like we've been talking about that the whole concept of the sovereignty of Quebec is based in Article 11 and this connection that quote unquote Europeans in the jurisdiction of Canada have with this corporation U.S. But they're not recognizing that they're also part of a corporation being in Canada, being in Quebec, being in the jurisdiction, because you can't make a claim of authority without jurisdiction. If you make a claim of authority without jurisdiction, that's colorable authority. That's authority that you can't really. So even that we're breaking down to Brother Patrick that, you know, their mindset is, well, we lost the war as the French, so the French got taken over by the British, now the British is over us. Well, that's over here. But these people claim that they're British or whatever, they don't really have the authority here to talk like that. That, oh, well, we're going to knock whoever. They don't have that authority. They can't speak like that. Only the people who have a birthright in the land could talk about authority. As soon as they start talking about authority and you look at them and you realize that, hold on a second, these people don't look like the indigenous people, recognize that they're doing their usurpation, they're doing their corruption, they're doing their color, they're doing the things to make sure that the hierarchy stays in the connotative realm. That they're the ones that have the government. They're the ones that if you want whatever, you have to go to them. You have to, yield to them when they should really be yielding to the people. They should really be putting their position down and telling the people, pick up your position and start letting us know what's going on, right? Being the true ancient Aboriginal indigenes of the land, North being the heartland of the Moroccan Empire, Moors are the de jure freeholders by birthright. You got freeholders right there?
Sure.
Moors are the de jure freeholders by birthright, inheritance, and primogeniture status, and have claim and possess the secure rights to travel upon the public roadways, byways, highways of our continental United States organic land, absent of foreign, colored, or imposed excise taxation constructs invented by the racketeering states, legislatures to abridge and steal rights belonging to natural people. So even in French they say nom de guerre, right, for a fictitious name. So it's not like they don't know here that there's this thing going on where, please, bro. Yeah, go ahead.
See what I was saying about the champion? It's kind of tight, bro. Move this up a bit. This side.
Let's move.
What is it?
That's true. No, that's good. I'll just move this back on the table.
Use your bag as the thing? Huh?
Not-
No. Couple books.
But if I need them, don't worry, no, I shouldn't be good. All right, so they even know based on the nom de guerre, based on the name that's not the name to be using for natural people, which would be anything written in all caps. So as soon as you start going through all of your different, whether it's cards in your wallet, bills, whatever, you'll realize that they always write the name of who they're addressing in all capitals. They always say, they never spell it out, right? They always say, they never spell it out, because by them spelling it out, it means that they're dealing with natural people. And if they're saying, instead of that, if they're saying Quebec City, right? They're saying Quebec City instead of QC. Now they're giving up the power, because they can only rule when they play this. They can only rule when they play nom de guerre. So the natural peoples are the Moors. The natural peoples are the Aboriginal, the ancient Aboriginal indigenous of the land, America. Now, when you have this concept of, we have this paperwork, we want to make sure that we're letting people know that it's not about this stuff. It's not about this. It's not about now you have this paper, so you're free. It's about getting ourselves in the correct mindset so that we can have a better understanding of what has been going on around us, and then what has been happening to us. And we want to give a shout out to RV Bay Publications and Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs, as well as Moorish Heritage and History School, for making these type of documents available so that people can do this type of fine-tuning to know exactly what's going on. The pattern has been that things like this you would get from somebody through, you come to some meeting like this, and then they, write down everybody's stuff, and then you go wherever you go studying, and then you convene, and they might say, well, here's the papers, 500. Here's the papers, $1,000. There's people out there saying $5,000 for some papers, just to say that you're free and you have rights. But as soon as we start talking about there's a charge for this, then it stops being. When you start talking about charges, it stops being un or inalienable. It stops being substantive rights and birthright, and it stops being inheritance. It now starts being commerce. And then commerce is the same thing that you're trying to escape by not dealing with this. And then the people who are selling this from the perspective of commerce, they know all this. So we know that it's direct diversions to keep our people asleep, to keep our people under these jurisdictions where they really don't have the authority to do the certain things that they do, right? You want to talk about that thing with the street stuff or whatever?
Oh, with the policy?
Yeah. Just to do it, just because we're dealing with the jurisdictions or whatever.
So,
I don't know how loud it would be. I don't know if you just want to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, where's the microphone coming from? Right here, around here?
Yeah, the microphone's there, but I don't think they'll be under here. So you can just talk about it.
Well, I'll let it play.
See how it goes.
It'll be loud enough. Okay, so what had happened was about last week or 2 weeks ago. I was talking to this brother here, and I think we all were talking actually, and it got pretty late, so I ended up going to to the store after, and where the store is where I live, it's kind of far. So I got to walk down. You know, I'm walking down the street, and so there's no street light. There's no stops. Light and green lights, red light. So I come down the street, and then I was looking for the bus to see if the bus is coming down. So I come out a little bit in the street. I look, so and it was windy, so it's like I'm cold. So I got back on the same sidewalk. I started walking down. Boom! Police come out of nowhere, like as if I was driving a car. Stop! Hey, whoa! Like I just kept walking. They're like, oh, whoa! They got out. They're like, hey! They started getting all freaked out, and I'm like, yo, what's your business? What? You know, I'm fessed up. So right off the bat, but I kind of got my hood on, so. I don't know what. I don't know if they couldn't see me. I don't know what. They were in for a shock. So what you're hearing is them stop me. It's them stopping me and trying to say that I'm jaywalking. First of all, let's be clear, if everybody doesn't know, a jaywalk is when you have a red light and you walk across the street from a red light. There's no jaywalk. There's no infraction if there's no light, right? So where I'm at, it's a corner of Walkley and Summerlin. There's no lights there. All right, there's a stop sign. So I actually stopped, looked down the street, just looked for the bus, and stayed on the same street, did not even cross it, and now they're telling me about an infraction. Okay, no light. So this is what you're going to hear. And and right, so I called 911. I called 911 also. I omitted that. I called 911 beforehand because I'm like, oh, you guys want it? Okay, 911. Yeah, I have a problem. I have one of your municipal employees here not following the ordinance. What do you want us to do? I was like, don't want nothing from you. I understand that when you call 911, it's automatically recorded in the supercomputer, so you're just listening. Oh, well, we can't really do anything. You have to deal with the police officer there at the moment. I'm like, if I'm calling you, according to the police officer here, I'm obviously telling you, I don't know if they're police talking about to stop me for some jaywalking. There's not a light. So they're like, oh, well, we don't know what to do. I was like, it's not for you. It's to get to record. Thank you. Click. I hung up the phone. So now after I hung up the phone, I put it on recording, right? This is what you hear. You know me? Okay. On March 16.
This year or
March 16. Yeah, next in 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lecture.
What's a lecture?
A lecture. I'm doing an opening because I talked with Sue Montgomery.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, Sue Montgomery is the borough mayor. Okay, I talked with her. She come to my home.
Yeah.
Okay. So I talked to her about police incidents like this, right? And she's like, "Well, yeah, I know. I used to work for the investigation of Indigenous women being murdered." And I'm like, "Yeah," and she left that. She told me that it was a fiasco, it was a joke, and that's why she. Because you got people like yourself that's supposed to be handling the peace. Yeah. People like yourself that makes an oath to abide by the Constitution, an oath to abide by peace, and they don't. So that's what she said.
We try a lot.
You try?
Yeah, we try.
What did you see me do wrong that you're going to stop me right now?
Sir, it's an infection. So
what is it? You're lying. See, that's not peace. What infraction did you see? But did you see anybody hurt? Did you see
I don't see
a corpus delicti? Did you see a body hurt?
No.
Okay, so then I was looking for the bus, and I've been telling you that. I come down the street here.
It's dangerous for you, man.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
So you don't think you with a sword and a gun is dangerous for me in my own home and land? No. Are you here like legally?
Yeah, we are legally.
How are you here legally?
I explain you.
You're not here legally.
Yeah, man.
Canada, first of all, was not ever recognized by the Westminster Act. Okay, by the Westminster Act, no provinces even recognize Canada. First of all, okay. So one. Okay, so two. All of the provinces, first of all, are creations of the UK Parliament. You guys have no jurisdiction here. Everything you're doing here is by force.
No, I do my best because I love it.
I know.
And
I'm sure you do.
But I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to arrest you.
I'm sure you love hurting people.
No, I don't love hurting people.
It's in your DNA. No, it's in your genetics.
You know what? I'm a farmer.
You're what?
I'm a farmer.
You're what? What does that mean?
A farmer. You don't know what a farmer is?
A farmer?
Yeah, a farmer.
A farmer.
Yes, the man who work with the cow.
You're an occupier.
Occupier?
Yes, occupier.
In English, is occupier or farmer? Is it that?
Of course, yes.
Okay.
When an occupier like yourself goes to a land that's not yours and you start farming in that land, that's called occupied.
Okay.
Occupancy.
Because I understand.
Oh, yeah,
I know,
okay, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Because you are illegal here. Right now, you're shopping. It's great. Of course I know.
You're legal. Excuse me. You are legal in here. You?
What do you mean? I'm Algonquin. You hear me? I keep saying it. They know who I am.
Why I'm not legal?
Because
You're legal, but not me.
where you come from? This is not your land. You're American. You're not America.
I'm European.
You're not. Where you're what?
European. Sorry.
You're European.
Yeah,
of course.
my father was.
Of course, you're from Europe. So who'll give you the right to be here?
Canada police.
Which we just said, right? I know Trudeau. Which we just said,
Yeah.
right, is not recognized. So it's de facto. So which means is that it's illegal. So which means is that, right? So when we go to court later on,
Yeah.
right, to the head,
Yeah.
not no de facto court of Montreal, court of Quebec,
Yeah.
right? So we go to, because I'm a national, right?
Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. The computer said you better leave him alone.
For tonight, we had a good talk.
Right.
Everything's okay. No tickets, no nothing.
Of course.
Just be careful.
Don't worry. You're going on YouTube.
I'm going on YouTube.
Yeah.
What? Oh.
You know why?
Oh.
Because you're very, very calm. But you're not very calm. But
This is just the way I'm
Oh.
I'm good night, sir.
just cross at the end. Don't worry about it.
Oh.
Yo, catch the bad guys.
Damn, bad number.
Yeah, you too. Get the bad guys.
Wow.
So again, yeah. So that's yeah.
right? So he didn't give any type of quote unquote identification that had a name on it that was written in all capital letters. So he had the power to speak for himself without a lawyer. People who look like us, either you have a lawyer or these people are just going to railroad you. That's just how it goes. Because we're always in the position of being a ward. But he was in the position of being natural people. So when he starts talking about Quebec's a corporation, you can't say that you're part of that. Canada's a corporation, you can't say you're part of that. You're European. If you're European, how do you give orders? This is not Europe over here, right? And then again, when they realize that the fraud that you uncover with them might be exposed, right? Now they want to do stuff the right way. Now they don't want to violate you. Now they don't want to do whatever because they know that they're going to put you on, you're going to put them on YouTube and make them famous for the corruption that they're doing.
And what you're just to interrupt, what you're seeing on there is his previous activity, which has created the groundwork for this happening now. Because they now have, because they're always doing data collection anyways, rather than having data collecting on him being someone doing something bad, they got data collecting on him saying we better stay away from this guy. And this is what we as a people need to start doing for ourselves to bring ourselves out of this so that these sort of fraudsters can sort of mind their own business and go pick on someone else who don't know.
Right.
Don't know. So ultimately, that's where, as much as it was his own energy, it was his previous energy, which created this sort of jurisdiction that said, we better leave this guy alone because trouble's going to be coming our way.
Right. Right. And again, that same theme. Our brother right here went through the same exact thing. That once you realize that, oh, you're just a man. You're not, your badge doesn't make you somebody, or jail or billy club or a court or whatever. Once you realize, oh yeah, you look at you eye to eye and we could have a conversation, then they realize that you're not Negro. As soon as they realize that you're not Negro, now they either yield or they increase the threat now. Because by you not being Negro now, because you have nature's laws backing you, you can take them to court. Because you have inalienable rights, you can take them to international court. Because you have birthrights, you could put a noose on them, drag them behind a truck or whatever like that, whatever you think you have to do when they violate you.
Inline,
right?
I just have a comment.
Inland.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, as a mother, because I had a situation with the police, I didn't have all this information.
Right.
But I kind of took a similar kind of connotation and said, you know, from since he was a child, you guys were you committed mental genocide. In other words, you killed his real spirit of who he was supposed to be.
Yep.
So that you can then now document in the system so all these young boys automatically think that they're criminals and they're no good, which I experienced with my son. I mean, it was tough trying to break it out of him.
Right.
But if I've had these, because I walked into the precinct right there and I commanded to see the big guy, because there were two officers harassing my son. And I told him, because they were coming like body themselves, and I'm small, and I'm like, hell no, you know, kind of thing. And I went up into the guy's face and said, this is mental genocide, and I wanted to stop.
Yeah.
They couldn't harass my son after that.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to that thing of, you know, once what eliminates fear is knowledge. Right? As soon as we start realizing that the knowledge that we possess, the fact that we have knowledge about who we are is really what is the threat to people who we say have been violating us. Things start changing immediately because they want to stop. It's like there's this thing that we say called nigger problem. Nigger problem is quote unquote black people who don't want to be who they are. They want to be everything else. And then they're taking that uncivilized position and then forcing people to accept it by light on in the street, march, block the street, hold people's day up for no reason that never did nothing to them. But the people who were really violating them, they never do it. The people who are abusing them every single day, by the minute, they don't bother with them. But grandma who has a shop over here, they're gonna burn her stuff down if police do something to somebody. They're gonna, the guy whose store they've been going to for the past 20 years, ever since they were this big, they're gonna burn his store, throw garbage cans through his window. But the precinct will remain untouched. Right? So once you start recognizing, like you're saying, when you start getting into this information and then your vision starts going like this, you start getting knowledge, you start realizing that these monsters that you've been going against and all that stuff, they just start going like this, and then the monsters go on like that, and then you're standing over there. Right? Because they don't get it until, like Noble Drawley said, they look death in the face. European's not going to give up until he looks death in the face. What is death in the face to a European? You know, gun, bigger gun, button to push the nuke. No, quote unquote black man that has knowledge.
Yeah.
But quote unquote black woman that has knowledge, they fear that more than the black man with knowledge.
Yeah. That's overnight stuff. Once that happens, it's almost like how much money they generate.
Case closed. You other questions, sis?
Well, actually, like I would say you were lucky to have actually a cop that would actually take the time and listen, because
It's like the first time that happened to me.
No, it's not the first, but it's not every cop that will react to that the way that they did.
Yeah,
I have my own experience,
right?
And it went another way. But me, like you said, knowledge is power. What I do when a situation like that comes sometimes, and when you see that the policeman or the cop is very aggressive, I will take whatever ticket that they have, and that knowledge I will bring into court.
Right.
I always win my cases.
Fight it there.
And I fight it in court.
I won my cases, but the last time there's a very corrupt judge. I presented because most of the judges would look at me and say, you know, because I would go very strong, but I have photos, I have information and everything. And one of the judges said to me, I like your spirit, ma'am. You can handle yourself. And then when I kept coming back and winning my cases, it seems like it was like, because the last time I went, the judge, I presented everything. And even the office itself for the prosecuting or whatever it is, she was shocked when the judge said, I don't believe you, ma'am, because he didn't have to believe me because I had the evidence.
Right.
Because the cop was claiming I went to a red light. First of all, I didn't get the ticket. What he did was he said I didn't have my documents. But what I did was there was a restaurant right there at the time he gave me the ticket, and I went into the cash register and I asked the girl to take the photo right at the cash register to show the ticket time and the time with my information, like all my information in front of it. And I brought that to court. I let them have a copy. I had a copy in my hand. I'm telling him. And he tells me he doesn't believe me. I said, well, you don't have it. I lost my case because the judge was corrupt.
Right. So, and again, when we start analyzing, we realize that if he's part of a corpse, he's not a judge.
Right.
Exactly.
That was a guy that they just got down there, put on this black thing, put a tie on, put a wig on you, sash on you, and put you in the seat and call you and call them judge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. So like the brother said, that what you saw was actually the effects of previous works. Right. There are certain protocols that we do so that it sets us up for the protection just in case something like this. Right. An example, what we call notice of principles, notice of the agent. So unless you do these notices priorhand, before you have these ignorant, especially in Quebec, that don't know what more means, they know what Algonquin is, you have to start using your mind now, right? And as we know, we're not to start engaging war with the criminal municipal employee saying he's a police officer. We know police officer is an elected official. So the elected official, which is the police chief of Montreal, Mr. Piquet, whatever, this guy has to be put on notice that if his employees or if his agents under him do X, Y, Z, as if you notice, I said, we're not going to go to a commercial court, which this unfortunately sister was in. Right. We're going to the Hague. Oh, yes, I know. So there's certain things that was being said and being already set up from before that I'm actually setting traps for. Say something, do something, I dare you. Because you're on record, you're on record, and I'm waiting for the radio. Oh, no, that's Bubba L. No, let him go now. The guy was like, come on. Oh, sorry, excuse me. He's apologizing now. So it wasn't just me. It was something that was set up.
I get that.
Right? It was works being done.
Like you just saying that means that they know about that.
Right.
So we have to be aware also that some of them will try to break that.
Oh, for sure.
That's what I said. Yeah, we know
so
that.
When that situation comes, and then when you come with your knowledge, because sometimes you have to understand that will frustrate the cop. Knowing that you have enough knowledge, he wants to hurt you more.
Right, not a problem. And that's why we say,
back up.
Yeah, that's why we say this is not for everybody. You better be very knowledgeable. And when you get to this level, then you realize the club, the gun, and the abuse is illegal. And once you understand that, then you can't stop a criminal from stabbing your car, smashing your car, or beating you up on the street.
My question is, what would have been your next step if you wouldn't receive it like that?
Just to because we deal with this thing, that this maxim, man is mine. Right? We deal with the maxim that man is mine. So we would go with how we wouldn't even go with creating a negative circumstance, because man is mine. Anything you think is probably going to manifest. Anything you put out on paper, more than likely it's going to happen. So be very mindful of what you put out your mouth. Be mindful of what you think, and be mindful of what you scribe. Because the power of the mind is that when you start using it, you're gonna get what you want, but you also get what you don't want. Just because it was in here, right? So we would look at it like, opposed to, well, if it went bad, how would you deal with the?
The reason why I'm asking that question is because, like, personally, I had a situation where the cop came to me and I didn't expect how it was going to turn around, and it turned against me.
Right.
And I really didn't expect that from the cop.
Yeah.
So then after that, I had to defend myself, like, at the court. But my mind was not set up to be negative. My mind was not set up. I actually thought that the cop wouldn't do
Yeah.
Didn't expect that at all. So within my mind, I was like being negative.
Right. But again, it's that thing of, once you recognize who you're dealing with, you're not even going to give them that credibility.
Right.
Of thinking that, well, maybe this one is going to be the one that, no, all of them are evil. Right. Let them prove themselves worthy.
Well,
their actions will prove.
His actions actually saved me in court, right? Because that's what I did.
You presented, right?
Exactly.
And that's what they always try to get you to do. The person that engage you, they're going to try to use psychology to get you mad, get you thing, you know. But as Julie said, you know, talk to them in an intelligent tone. And that usually bewilders them, because they used to have people like, yo, what are you talking to me? You know what I mean?
What?
Oh my gosh. Sorry. It's all good.
Are you knocking? Just a small one or a big one?
It's okay.
There's some right over here. Alfonso, they got paper towels over there. We paper towels.
I'll grab a couple of these.
All right. Yeah.
Get a little excited here.
Yeah, I know. Even the water is getting in it. Right?
But the thing is, right, is when you have, like, for example, like before coming to the knowledge, you're about like you are a normal citizen, you try to do whatever it is because you don't have the knowledge, right? So, like, since I'm 16, I got a driver's license. This is key. So I got a driver's license. You think you needed to drive and stuff like that. So there was a situation where I asked for help, but because of the car that I had, and there was an accident somewhere else, they tried to pin it on me.
Right.
But the key question that the municipal employee asked me, please provide me with your driver's license and a piece of identity.
Mm-hmm.
So that clicked in my, so I was just first starting. Remember, I went to see you, it was a couple of months after, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just starting to learn these things. So it clicked. So now, you see, when you first join something, first of all, the thing starts setting in, and then the situation happens. So I said, okay. So I gave him the driver's license, and I had my card with me. So I gave him the national ID card. So now he's trying to say, okay, what is this? I said, this is your
right.
Your paper,
instrument,
your instrument, and this is my identity.
Right.
So they had a big problem with that going on with me, because they was trying to charge me with DUI, with hit and run, all types of stuff. So they put me in the car and they talking to the station. So now all of a sudden I heard he has an American point. And then from that happened, they said, we're gonna let you go if you sign this paper.
Yeah.
Which I didn't sign.
But now.
That's what I want to understand.
Yeah, but that was their get up. That was there. We don't want to deal with this. So sign this paper.
And we're not responsible after that, right?
And then we're not responsible, and we'll let you go. We'll do whatever. What they call it in criminal versus whatever is plea deal. But they're giving you a plea deal without the whole charade of the court and the whatever. They're just giving you a deal so they can back up, because, like you said, they said, oh, he has an American point.
We don't want to deal with him.
Why you have an American point here? Unless they know this is America.
Right.
Unless they know that this is not really Quebec City and Montreal and whatever like that. Because the claim that you're making is a claim that Moors make. You're making a claim that Aboriginal and Indigenous people make. So if you're making a claim that Aboriginal and Indigenous people make, obviously you're not a citizen of our corporation.
Right.
On top of that, you didn't just give us the license, you also gave us your thing. proving to us that we don't have a jurisdiction over you. So sign this paper.
No, but I'm coming to something that played though. One of them was nasty enough to say, well, it's not registered. That's what I want to understand. When they said, well, we can still go along because it's not registered. What do they mean by this dog is not
registered, meaning that Canada's Bureau of Indian BS didn't give you that card.
Okay.
Because in order to be Indian in Canada, the colonizer has to give you the card.
Right.
But if the colonizer give you the card, then clearly you're not Indian.
Yeah,
clearly you're not native. If you're going to say, hi, colonists, can I get a card to prove that I'm Indian from you?
Because they're the ones who organize the Native Indians.
Right.
Bureaucracy,
Right.
basically.
Right. The colonizer set that up. The Indians, the sellout chiefs who made all these deals with these Europeans that didn't have any authority here. And then these people who claim that they're the Indians that you see walking around here drunk and stuff like that, the Chinese guys, those guys from India, from Asia.
Mongolia.
So they're not really the natives. The Europeans here know that when they came over here, that basilica on the hill over there, that's the same mosque on the hill that right. That's the same mosque on the hill that Columbus and them saw from the ship when they came here. So they know that the land over here has nothing to do with Europeans. They know that. This is a fact. Our issue is that we've been black for so long that they're just going on the fact that, okay, well, yeah, we're black. And because we go with that, then they have jurisdiction.
Right.
Because we say QC, I'm going to QC. That's corporation. You can't go there.
Right, because when I was talking to them, they were saying, because I was telling them, because I'm in the back of the car and I'm asking questions, I'm like, and they being rude, and one time they came and they said, because you're in Quebec, I said, what Quebec? Where does Quebec exist?
Right.
And they couldn't answer.
Yeah, they paused.
When one of them told me, shut the fuck up, I said, isn't it my right to ask for questions?
Why not?
So,
right, but again, their mindset is majority of people who look like us are Negro. Majority of people who look like us, they don't have any knowledge of self to even ask a question. So why are you asking a question? You can't be asking no questions. You're Negro. You're a slave to us. But when you start saying certain things, you need Quebec. But international law says da 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 da. Well, the rights of humans say da 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 da. But I went and I read the treaty between you guys and whoever, and it said you guys don't even have power that you're claiming. So what? Once you start opening your mind, you realize how small these people are.
No, that's what I've realized.
Like,
and like you said, it's more than paper. It has nothing, like the paper is one thing, but you have to, it has to be in you.
Right. That's why the fake judge told the mother, oh, you have a good spirit. What's that have to do with law and being in court and tickets and all that stuff? What do you mean? What spirit have to do with something? Or does the spirit have everything to do with it?
Right. And
they're not even revealing that that's really what it's about.
What's going on?
They're not even going there. They'll just go with, oh yeah, dismissed or whatever like that, without letting know, oh yeah, her spirit, we don't want to bring her up in the court. We don't want her in the room because of her spirit. Because she's going to come in here, say whatever, and other people are going to pick up on it and say, hey, she just did. How come she got no ticket? How come? Excuse me, Judge, I want to do what she did. So everybody goes up and does that. Do these people have a court?
No.
Do they make money that day? Does anybody get paid that day? No.
And their courts are based ecclesiastical.
Right.
On top of it, so spiritual on top of it. So the spirit really is the power on top of it.
So try to get through page 1, yeah. Sorry, and it's 7:30. What time are we gonna do the break?
7:25.
Let's
go
another.
Where are you? Because it seems like
Yeah, I'm almost done this. We'll shoot to the next one.
Well, I think we're not even gonna be able to do that.
You still have freeholder?
And I thought you wanted to do corpus electi too, which I was.
Yeah, that too, but yeah.
Freeholder. Just gonna give you freehold for a second.
Freehold.
Before I give you freeholder. Freehold, an estate for life or in fee. A freehold estate is a right of title to land, right? So going into freeholder, a freeholder is one having a title to realty, right?
Those are more.
Either of inheritance or for life, either legal or equitable title. So a person who possesses a freehold estate, stature meaning not infrequently differs from common law meaning of the term. And that's basically what it's saying there in the black box.
And then there was another freehold, something else?
Freehold land society. Societies in England designed for the purpose of enabling mechanics, artisans, and workmen.
Okay, got that. So yeah, so freehold one more time.
Okay, freeholder is one having a title to realty, right? Either of inheritance or for life. So it's either a legal or equitable title. And so it says statutory meaning not infrequently differs from the common law meaning of the term. So you might look into that.
Statutory not different?
Not differing.
Yes. Statutory meaning not infrequently differs.
Right, so when we talk about Moors are the de jure freeholders by birthright. Moors are the de jure title holders to realty. Moors are the ones with legal or equitable title. In statutory law, freehold doesn't change definition. So you might have, like you're saying, under ecclesiastical law, something will mean something, and then in court it means something different, right? In freehold, there's no change in what the meaning is. So in any jurisdiction, once you say freehold, they know. Just like when you say absolute in any jurisdiction, they already know what you're talking about, right? These substantive rights are supported by and asserted by royal law, Moorish law, Muslim/Muslim law, the law of the Great Peace, the laws of nature, divine law, nature's God, the law of nations, free Moorish Great Seal, Zodiac Constitution, and affirmed by Articles 4 and 6 of the Constitution Covenant of 1774 to 1781, as lawfully adopted for the United States Republic.
Hold on, so for one second, I don't know how you've written that in there, but I think it's important to notice that we're also giving, this might be for our benefit, the Moorish calendar, which is important to understand. Which is important to understand the fact that when you get into the real laws, all laws are cosmological, and so they have to do with the universe. And ultimately, what we're pointing out there is we're not going by the Europeans' so-called definition of what time is. We're claiming our own, and that's important there in that document to acknowledge the fact that we then have a claim to our own reality with how we're putting this, because they're saying this happened at a certain time, right? Because some of those things have to do with in the year 2000. It might even not be 2000 yet because it's 1438. So what the hell they're talking about is something else, and trying to track your energy on that, right? So anyways.
Right.
As lawfully adopted.
As lawfully adopted for the United States Republic, establishing its republican form of government, said Constitution established the people's supreme law of the land to secure the rights of the people, to keep the government bound and in check by official oath and by official bond. So this is another one. Somebody in the chat said also too, when you're speaking with the policy enforcers, this is another code word, bond. So talk about bonds, they start not wanting to talk about anything.
Yeah, because when you go to court, they have to create a bond for you to be in court.
Right.
Right. So the remedy is already there.
But the bond is really supposed to be on them.
Right.
They're the ones that are bonded.
Yeah.
They transfer the bond to the people because the people don't have any title of realty. The people can't make a claim if they're not in their de jure status or standing.
But more importantly, these people can't make a claim on you to begin with either. That's the other part of it that's messed up. They shouldn't even be talking to you.
Right.
You should be getting to that. Who are you to even be talking about?
Just on the diversity. Just on them being European and you being Asiatic or more, they shouldn't even have any type of interaction.
Right. I had an interaction with a policy force not too long. I live in Gatineau, Quebec side near Ottawa, right? And basically he's saying that I got tired of listening to him and said, "What's your nationality?" And he's trying to tell me Canadian, so I started laughing right away, right? Because we study. So automatically, like, well, you look European to me, bro. Like, come on, what's your nationality? Aren't you proud of your European ancestry? You should be, right? For sure. And he says, well, I don't really have a nationality. Like, not sure about it, or so right away that makes him stateless. You don't know who you are. You walk around the street and they ask you who you are. You can't say who you are. You're incompetent. You're homeless. You're not in your right mind. So I said to him, "You're stateless." Well, if you're stateless, you don't need to ask me any more questions. We can have a good night.
Well, then on top of that, right?
Yeah.
Even the same thing that he's talking about with the bond, the officer so-called has to be bonded too. Bonded to have a weapon, bonded to be
clearly.
bonded. So if he's stateless, he can't have a bond.
That's right.
And then what's he doing even talking to you?
My friend recently experienced that where her home was foreclosed in the States, right?
Right.
But she fought by using philosophical rights.
Right.
And this is the big mortgage company there was the
Wells Fargo?
Yes. And the guy representing them said, "Oh man, there's nothing we can do," because when she said that I did not give anything of mine away, they stopped right there.
Yeah.
Because they're running a fraud.
They couldn't take her property.
Yeah, because they're running a fraud, and as soon as you call them on it, that's gonna back them off.
And again, the more that we deal with them like that, the weaker they get all the time. The weaker they get. All this illusion that they're putting up, you know what I mean? Blow up balloons, put it under their shirt and talk about, we got muscles or whatever. Useless. Because the knowledge that the people have is really where the strength is.
And it becomes like a kryptonite, to these policy enforcers.
Or garlic to vampires.
Same way.
Right? Because the whole point is to make sure that your mindset is on this paper. The paper's not giving you this way. It's going that way, not that way. So by having these documents, you're able to, especially for new people coming into this. This is an encyclopedia right here, right? This is to give you reference points for you to go check and make sure everything is right and exact. This is to make sure that you see with your own eye what's going on. And it's going to come from you having a clear understanding of what it is that you're relaying to who you're dealing with, right? Because like the Moors in the back, you can relay stuff to them that they say, we're going to put you on the guillotine because you're telling us too much truth, right? You would have, just like with Brother Jed, and with the whole thing about how you approach could make them react on a defensive, right? Even in that position, think about like Tiananmen Square. When dude said, "You guys think whatever, I'm gonna lay down in front of this tank for my birthrights. You guys gonna have to roll over me, one guy, one." And then they show the picture and the guy in front of one tank or whatever, But then when you do the panoramic, they got tanks going for miles. They got tanks going. Everybody stopped because of one guy standing in front of a tank. Who's he? What does he know? What energy is he putting out? Being there to back off people in tanks.
But here's the thing. The thing is that I believe too is the reason why they back up too. Of course, it's the knowledge behind too, but it's the fact that it could be known. So, for example, if there's a situation and if they don't back up, and if it's known, let's say it goes to the news or whatever, then that wastes of people. So at the same time, when like they leave us alone, it's for us to not make enough noise for people to react to it and start asking questions and stuff like that. For example, the one man, yeah, it was one man, but that one man scared everybody because if like everybody sees it, then
everybody's gonna think that they could do that. Yeah.
So my question is, how now can we, like, let's say me, my knowledge, I could defend myself with it, no problem. But how can I avoid for it to happen to my next brother? Like,
by doing this, exactly what we're doing right here.
Right.
This is exactly
which is
what it's about. But not us. We're not from here. Y'all from here. This is where it comes in with you guys. Same thing that we're doing. Getting the names, getting the numbers, and then this could be something going on every week. Opposed to us come here once a year, we just say, 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, 20, 40.
He's going to leave you alone the next time he sees you, but it doesn't mean that he's going to leave you.
Every police across this city, this province, they know me. Is it there because there's nobody else? Every week, ask these guys. They know how much work. It used to be like for the last 2 years. I was using my home. I just had a little girl. She's 2 now. She knows more about more science than the people are supposed to know over here, right? So I mean, again, like you said, it's our jurisdiction, right? So it's for us to do. Say, listen, you have a problem. When next time you have a problem or your brother has a problem, because we always come together and congregate every week. There's I have a problem. Yep. Remember when they came to me, I was like, what? Okay, I cut them right off and called 911. In my mind, I didn't even see them. I was okay, 911. So they're not used to any Negro, color, Black, West Indian, anybody calling 911.
Yeah, but now everything got
Actions are different. I did the exact same thing, which I called 911.
Right.
That night that I came. But like I said, it really depends on
your knowledge.
Individual that you with.
Yeah.
And they could react to it. Some people would act with fear by back it up. Some people will act with fear by being more aggressive.
Right.
And it's really, and then the one that I had wasn't the one that you had, so I had to take it to court and enforce it. And I won my case because it was so flagrant that
Omar, you had a comment, question?
No, I mean, there's just some number of statements within sort of some responding to some of the stuff we were talking about in terms of one of the things we keep trying to teach people coming into this knowledge is an understanding that the so-called people that you think were looking after you are now the criminals. You have to understand that makes them criminals.
Right.
So that means that they could be doing criminal activity. So ultimately, you have to then judge your reactions by the way they're reacting.
Exactly.
If they look like they're going to shoot you down the street, then you acquiesce because ultimately they are the thugs. So you as a high-minded person are not looking to battle with the thug. What you're looking to do is get out of that situation.
That's what I just
but that's what I'm saying. You have to be prepared. There's no book that we're going to give you that's going to give you the 3 or 4 different
ways that they're going to come at you.
Going to shut the guy down. What it is going to be at that moment experiencing that, understanding that he's the real slave.
Yeah.
So you got to get to the Don. You're gonna go to the justice of the peace who ain't even anyone either.
Done either. Yeah.
So that's the layers behind it. But then the last thing I was getting to, if you really wanted to know, it's about, like you say, waking up the people. It's about all of us getting together. Because right now we're still being isolated and picked off.
Right.
So that to me is where it really is. It might not have to happen every week, but it's everything you do in your life.
Yeah, something happening. You know what I mean? With the people who are here.
We find, for example, we came out here, we were supposed to have 9 people come out. There was only 2 of us that made it out. 2 of us made it. And then look at this. We were looking, so there's just 4 of us here. Look how many people. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is the magic number. 5 and 2. Right? So someone's speaking. Right? There's 7 of you here. Yeah. And then there's an offspring as well. Yeah. New energy. Right? So it's done. We've done our job, though. We've dropped a lot more finance, but we're here. Next year, we'll be here again. We hope that you could, what our hope is now, in 3 months, that you guys come to Toronto for our barbecue, which is an open event where we cater all the food. And 6 months, and in September at the other gate, we're looking to have other events. We're looking to get out west, Calgary. We're looking to get ourselves awake again as a people. We're here. We're on the cusp right now. We just don't know, because obviously the leaders that we thought were our leaders aren't our leaders, because we would be somewhere else if they were. Right?
Definitely wouldn't be here.
So really what we have to understand is we are really the leaders.
Right.
It's kind of crazy. You have to look yourself in the mirror and go, I'm now going to be the leader of Montreal territory. To an extent. So some people can't handle that.
Yeah.
Some people also have families. Some people also realize there'll be something that scares them where they'll go, okay, and all of us, to a man, are probably still on the slave ship to some extent or another. So we got to get out of that slave ship.
But in Montreal, I find that's what it is. It's the fear factor.
Right.
You understand? Yeah. And little do they know is what they're fearing is what's
It's their ignorance.
You understand? Yeah. You understand? And let me tell you guys something. I got an approach because originally the street was my domain. Right. So after I came to see you guys and settled with me, I went to Montreal North, which is where it's really hot. And you know, they had a party and they were all there. What I find is the guys are listening, but the fiat got them so corrupt with these people that they will take the information and dirty use it. So I had to back up and say, no, you guys, you're
not ready yet.
So I find myself.
That's what they do. They set up these community offices, say they're gonna help them,
Programs.
but they use it to develop themselves.
And by doing that, they're feeding exactly the cops and the opposite.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It does the opposite work.
Right.
Because we were at a better place, say, 30 years ago. Because I grew up in that time.
Right. Yeah.
30, 40 years ago. I grew up in that time.
Yeah.
We were at a better place. And I'm constantly verbal about it. I said, you guys are patting yourself on your backs for doing nothing, for just maintaining your jobs.
Right. You're there.
They don't like that.
Right.
But it's the truth.
Right.
You know?
But again, it's a thing of when there's no secondary or other thing, then that's what people are stuck with.
Right.
And majority of the people, you know, they're not, you know, they're like, that's my leader. Oh, well, they sold you out. Okay, well, I guess we'll just sit here and wait for another leader to pop up, because that's what our leaders do. But like you're saying, you know, drug dealers back in the day when we were in high school, junior high school or whatever like that, they're not telling you come on the street making you a mule and carry their drugs or whatever. They're telling you go to school.
Yeah.
They're telling you listen to your mom. What are you doing out here? How come you're out here? Who sent you out here? You know what? So I'm taking you home right now and see what's really going on or whatever. You're telling the drug dealer, nah, I don't. I'll go home by myself. It's all right or whatever like that, because you already know drug dealers bringing you home. What are you doing with this guy? We know who this guy is. Right? You know what I mean?
Right. I would just like to add on top.
Yeah, more.
Just for anybody who doesn't really know, these two words, okay? Indemnity bond and tort. I'll just quickly read tort.
Yeah.
And then I'll quickly read indemnity. Okay, so bond, right? Y'all know what bond is, right? So tort. Tort.
Yeah, after this, well.
Just especially.
It's a civil wrong for which a remedy may be obtained, usually in the form of damages, a breach of a duty that the law imposes on everyone in the same relation to one another, and as those involved in a given transaction. To the branch of law dealing with such wrongs. Okay, indemnity. So the tort is when a wrong was done to you, a civil wrong was done to you from people who have fiduciary obligations to follow a law. That's called a tort. So somebody who has the obligation to do you peace and they do you wrong, that they've been doing to us. Remember, I'm from the Montreal jurisdiction. I got jumped. I've done 5 years in prison. I've got the right. I know what you're talking about. But these people also know, okay, that okay. So indemnity bond. Indemnity. A duty to make good any loss, damage, or liability incurred by another. 2, the right of an injured party to claim reimbursement for its loss, damage, or liability from a person who has such a duty. So, like I said to the policy, and like I said to the municipal employee, you have a contract to abide by the Constitution. In the Constitution, it says that they must keep the peace. They also have what we call a contract to keep the public peace. As soon as they break the peace in public, it's called a breach of trust, of public trust. Okay? As soon as they do anything like that, oh, you want to beat me up? Okay, I want you to beat me up. They have a bond. The police have an indemnity bond, which is a pot. So when they murder, usually it's a ceremonial, and y'all don't know. Y'all just think it's racism, and they're killing the black man. Y'all don't know that this is a black magic ceremony. And when they know that you have a remedy out of that, they know that we don't have it because we're screaming, freaking out, ah. If you know a way out, you're not going to scream like you said. You're going to go, okay, no problem, take it to court because I'm going to get 63 million.
And then remember too that when you challenge them and get to the position of some judicial whoever says, okay, you won or dismissed or whatever, right? You didn't win because you got finance or money or whatever. You didn't win because you didn't have that ticket no more. You didn't win because they're finally standing up for the law or whatever like that. You won because you stood up for your right. You won because that's something that they didn't even expect. That, first of all, you're going to just take the ticket. Because, the thing is with our people is that we're always on fighting and loud and, things that are only going to get the other person
they want.
riled up too. Which is exactly what they want. Right? Which again, we haven't brought it up yet. Let me put this up there before I get in trouble.
All right, so did you get to the bottom of it?
Yeah, I'm just we're pretty much
not
done.
Even there,
we're pretty much done. Yeah, let me just put this down here too, just so I don't get in trouble.
right. No, we'll dry leaf forever. Ever.
Right. So Noble Drew Ali was or is a Cherokee tribe. And then he's the one that brought this idea to, black people in America that you're not Negro black colored, you're Moors. You're descendants of Moors. You're tied to a history that goes so far past slave trade that slave trade shouldn't even be anything that's on your mind that's part of yourself.
Well, or even from the perspective that the real slave trade probably came from us to begin with.
Right.
And this is why we're in the state that we're in, because we started doing the slavery shit and got a piece of our own medicine. This is karma. It's really what this is. So he came because ultimately there was such a long disconnect between who we really were, who we've become, that the Creator had to bring someone in the flesh to give us back. And that's where the message comes from, my son coming in the flesh, and then come to show you the way back. Which is what he is.
Yeah, like a bookman.
Right. But the real issue is our fall, right? Yeah. And him having to come here to do that. He's connecting us back
to our rights.
To because ultimately, by having let the mutant take over, we're on a crash course for death. So now, the way I've always likened it, it's like the person who's piloting has been unconscious, and these people are heading us into the ground.
Right, yeah.
And what's happened now? We got to wake the pilot back up. We're the pilot. We're actually you guys are the pilot. Bringing back
woman or mother is the pilot. Is the real pilot.
The real pilot, and we are your accompaniments. We're the workforce behind that. Yeah. But we're also the duality.
We're the flight attendants.
We're the feminine, masculine thing with it. Right? Being, I think, Seer would say it. We are feminine inside, so we're exuding masculine. You're really masculine inside, exuding feminine on the outside. That's that yin and yang thing, as a thing. But anyways,
So I think we'll use that as our segue.
so initially we came here, just to give you a little segue, we came here to Montreal to do this from 5 to 9, and then we were gonna have a break in between. And we have two of our brothers from the Ottawa territory who have just opened up a catering company, and we figured to try and this is what we're supposed to be doing, trying to bring our energies back to our people. So rather than going and get the European to make our food, we're coming home, and a part of that has to do with what we eat and how we eat. So they're vegan, fully vegan, no plant, no what?
Fully vegan.
Right. So we would say that this is our Canaanland Moore's vernal equinox event, being hosted and being catered by
The Savory Life.
The Savory Life Caterers.
Life Caterers.
And
Savory Life Caterers.
Maybe you'd like to come up and talk a little bit about what your mission statement is. And anyway, so what we've got for anyone who aren't here, it's basically buffet. It's $15. You get your drinks, your appetizers, your salads, your main course, and your dessert. And you can maybe explain what's on the menu too.
Sure. Dwight, Big,
Nicole.
Nicole.
Thank
you. Again, we're from Ottawa territory. We've been in the part of the Moorish movement for, I'd say, probably about 4 or 5 years now. We initially came in just trying to swim because we were just going through a lot of push back. We over the last 2 years, last 3 years, we've gone through a lot of financial issues, going through the courts. Our home was taken 2 years ago. We still dealing with it in the court in the sense that I will just give you a very mini scenario as to what has unfolded. So when we initially started, we had like 8 lawsuits on the go, which was really, it's bad enough going through one, but 8 on the go consistently. So again, I mentioned we were swimming all the time. So we lost our home, or they came and removed us 2 years ago. Since then, we've just been building. At that point, I was in the financial field, financial planner. One of the things I've always loved to do in terms of going through the process was I enjoyed cooking. I just grew up cooking, basically. And so we were removed from our home, but in a sense, another love unfolded in terms of love for cooking. And basically, I started working in a restaurant about a little over 2 years ago. Then I moved over to a retirement home now where I'm working part-time, and we started our vegan catering. Because it was part of the goal over the last 5 to 10 years, in the sense that health-wise led me to the change. And really, we've been fully vegan about 4 or 5 years now. And figure, you know what, you love doing what you're doing and others enjoy it, so just share back. So in terms of my Empress and I, we've basically been going fully at it. We just started out, this is our full event for the first time, and it's called The Savory Life, and you can reach us at tastesweetlife1@gmail.com. And right now, we said I'm at the retirement home, working part-time, but we're ready to fulfill any obligations anyone may have over the next little while.
Just as a sidebar, one of the things I start to want to do is in our community, start to have at least a loose fitting directory where if you're looking for food in the Montreal area, some kind of catering, you would be thinking to call these Moors up, or because some of the stuff that you've heard about a place called Black Wall Street, when we actually had our stuff together, that dollar bill circulated in that community 100 times before it left. What we know is we get that dollar bill and it goes out right away. So anyways, that's it. So
I'll just tell you quick what's on the.
Just to put the email out again, is it
Yeah, so Taste Sweet Life.
All one word.
Number one at gmail.com. Okay. And so on the menu, on the menu we have pita with hummus. We have some samosas with tamarind sauce, salad, potato salad, chili, and quinoa burgers.
Sorry, Moore's in the chat. You're gonna have to.
Hey guys. And we have some mango pineapple punch to go with it. Okay.
All right. So we'll take a 15, 20 minute. Yeah, we'll take a 15, 20
Well,
minute.
no, but actually, if you would like to get up now, because just to give everyone the other FYI we were sort of looking to sort of hope to wrap this up around 10. It's 8 now, right? And with food and whatever, so we're taking a little bit of a break, but the JIT can.
I need to at least get everything straight. So
we'll take a little 10, 15.
10, 15, and then
we'll start up.
We'll
re-intervene. Question and answer
Yeah.
period, and then ultimately, yeah.
Yeah. So so feel free. Bill, act word and talk. We're here,
Right.
And we'll reconvene in 15 minutes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
This is chat Morris, so you could go get your food or whatever for right now. Go get your drink. Go get your whatever it is that you want to do, and we'll be back in about 15 minutes. I'm gonna get this on. I'll give you all some music to listen to or something while we do that.
Okay, wait, hold on. I'm gonna just give me 2 seconds.
But you know what every time what I've realized about this thing, like it's more like it's really a spiritual thing.
Very.
It has nothing to do with
Yeah, this is not corporeal
It's
at
all
all.
spirit.
No, that's all.
Yeah. Spirit before anything else. That's for sure.
Mind, natural.
Yeah.
Together,
Yeah.
One is complementing the
We tired, I ain't lying, but it's dying, and we silent, babies crying, saying you want justice. Now the tables turning like a worm up in the corner, why it's burning up, they learning this is hostage. You just gotta listen my position on the mission, I ain't switching while you preaching, let's crush this. Oh my God, we getting upset, they can't touch this, too much injustice.
YouTube got the blues when it should be. Red 5 points is the green. Saw is the beam. All-star, we the beams made manifest. Home of the ancestors. More just to stop sleep. Line in your squares, not vertical. Set sail, me Marines kept trail here to breathe. From the ground up, built from the ground up. Valid. Keep time to spend what is turning you inside out while you're going through a flowing through flowers like there's no Jesus without some justice. I see it, you, I'm in your hoodie. The moon, Moorish blood lineage. MR, meaning love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We too gotta do, not just live. Come but sweat. Gotta be yourself. Not frauds from abroad in need of help.
We tired, I ain't lying, but it's dying, and we silent, babies crying, saying too much injustice. Now the tables turning like a worm up in the corner, why it's burning up, they learning different substance. You just gotta listen my position on the mission, I ain't switching while you preaching, let's crush this. Oh my God, we getting upset. They can't touch this, too much injustice.
Injustice. Who can I trust? Disturbing my peace by defiling my love. How truth is sacred, you just treat it unjust. So it's time for justice out of us. A nation 7 times complete. I'm on my nice life, still cross the street. Now that's freedom if you ask me. Until the hatchet man cut down my cherry tree. By the hands that fed you, now you're wearing shoes in my temple. This is more than physical, it's mental. I keep standing even if I was a cripple. Get out the pool, stay out the rituals. You're confessing sins, I'm confessing love. Truth be the essence of peace and men. So you
Haiku, salute that justice. We're tired, I ain't lying, but it's dying, and we silent, babies crying, saying too much injustice. Now the tables turning like a worm up in the grind, the fire's burning, hope you learning this is substance. You just gotta listen my position on the mission, I ain't switching while you bitching, let's crush this. Oh my God, we getting upset, they can't touch this, too much injustice. I crush the conversation with accurate observations, so cancel your operations. Y'all sending passions to congregations to strangle the population. My passion has got the grace and the honor. When there's a homelessness ocean filled up with so much destruction doors and they open it, but we know who's the culprits. Truck dreams in the hardest to own the brick. Rip the open in that building, we don't even own the brick. Working hand in hand to Sandra Bland, cause they got plans with clans going land to land. They say they got tall aims to crush these hearts, right from the small clans to the supreme courts. Man, it's hard being down, but it's easy being up. We might make it look so easy, it ain't easy being us. That's why we call this leather. Pick up my Morris brothers, won't hit this anyway, but R.I.P. Freddie Gray. We're tired, I ain't lying, but it's dying, and we silent, babies crying, saying too much injustice. Now the table's turning like a worm up in the grind, the fire's burning, hope you learning this is substance. You just gotta listen my position on the mission, I ain't switching while you itching, let's crush this. Oh my God, we getting upset, they can't touch this, too much injustice.
More lives matter. It seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Shot in the back, running or choked out to death on the corners. Mistake to stage before his sidearm, says the coroner. To the yellow journalist that won awards for writing facts. For worldwide web press stories, always calling them black. Civil rights violated. Here comes C1-7 and CIA and FBI agent. Brethren felons with one brick brother once heard. Most wars are nerds and study holding it from on the road with white curbs. Offensive forces are fighting for survival. Making wars, waters won't have it. Calling us Captain Rival. Inquisition is governors and secretaries of state. Got stateless on their tables like ribeye steak. With no care, blood dripping. They eat blacks rare. Foreigners wearing 6-point badges, pretending they're heirs to the vastness estate of the evil Aqsa. Stainless blood from Baza, horses, Brahma, swear it's agua. Demons thirst quench, stealing pioneers and organs. Psychiatry, death industry, to start selling black orphans and half-closed coffins, cause legs are missing, killing stateless people, cancer won't even see remission. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter.
System, what system? Not gonna make victim, run down and kick them up, educate oneself and flip them. All of the titles on nationality strips them. Must grip reality in order to really grip them in this third dimensional illusion. Organized chaos, confusion, stealing your attention, mental intrusion. Universal laws, declaration of the ancients. I self-law and master from the rooftops to the basements, hoop deep to the spaceship. Ever since all creations, celestial foundations, ocean floor to the ranges, to the mountain tip, to the cosmic infinite. Basically, we are way above the shit. In other words, get in tune with spirit. Take a breath and accept mental polarity, gender, rhythm, correspondence, vibration, cause and effect.
More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter.
More lives matter cause I think it knows sound off. It gets defected when rejected. Mass off. Get my perspective one directed to a replay. All the moves that one replay. So they want to cast off. Hurry them on to the next one. Enough of them are running out. Use them on cast cross. Can't believe I'm talking that. Can't believe a God boss. Trayvon, Michael Brown, Lapras to bang off. Afterlife visited the class prom. Who they really want to see with the crown on high and the garbs on free. I am free and you know business but your land or your country to seek your inalienable rights. The insatiable delight of knowing thyself and bringing all injustice to light. When the fight is your plight, make your sight with the bright. I'm the mic in the night. Foresight for you to realize that,
I'm like, you are the wrong person. That's right. So now you turned it around. Yeah.
Like the depths and the heights of the knowledge you reach out, security, you're right for you. Ain't the sure in the right that you seek. Not entitled to the inheritance left for the meek. Or the more, you want more, the blood that was dripped or the sweat through the pores. That land it was stripped already on shore. Spaceships, I'm a Washington more. Keep on the station, but you don't want what's yours. Now Troy Davis is a metaphor, simile. A simulation to do it simply. You a corporate artificial entity, civilized more tools, not a human being. Ask yourself this question: who man being in black is still then white means being it from the darkness where we see. And I shine bright, who's Illuminati, they play hide and seek. I bear that light, they claim they keep. This is our land, they took it over by force. Instead of birthright to nationality, rims and bright lights is our reality. Caught up in a given system, ignorant of the fact that it's just a fallacy. Via false fiction, trigger song starts crack addictions, mouth on the throne, we already home. Mine is the rock without a pot to piss in. Deal it all to the end of villain. It takes courage and discipline and right old wrong. We just singing old songs and wake back up from the sleep we've been in. Sip a little more juice, a little more rum and a little more juice, a little more sky and a little more goose, and another little black fairy tale hype very well with a little more dead and a little less truth.
They're not giving it back to them in the way that they want it. They're militarizing the internet. I think they're really doing it. They're making the women more military. They're giving you that power to put the man in jail and making you
Attorney Brian Common didn't do like Lincoln before. Beat the Troy saying Troy Davis is a more. Not a Negro, black execution hero in a pre-up persona. No, I won't. Stop playing, my weapon is pressing the charge. I set block master, slaves always frontin'. Wanna fight after this war from button. Troy could've lived, he didn't have to be the 2011 era by plaintiff. Legal injection, get the vein stiff. NEC's always screamed it racist. Think about these dress got 2011. The proof we haven't learned since 1857. Some won't like what I'm telling. No bed friendin', watch a car brief, no pelican. Slave names, no bay remembering. So take sentencing and be impending. Let's see who will learn from this lesson. Blessing, don't you and truth Baptist water confessions. Troy Cruz, nationality to order, no dressing, no condiments. How many more must face Troy Davis type consequence?
Right. So, but then we have to connect that. We both male and female aspects, and that's what
This is our land, they took it over by force. Once again, another body fall victim. Accusations made Troy Davis a victim. Coupled with the grudge and the rage of the system designed with the acts of deception. You miswage you on the guard. The identity lost, frauds, controlling more cause. They losing DNA parts of the whole incomplete. So the game to compete is way more prevalent. They know they got to feel the defeat. You wanna know about the better of the middle from the soul that we and know about your land and your birthright nature. Inheritance, yes, Lord, be a savior. Rise in peace, Troy Davis, we're calling on your name. Live on in minds we created. Reality we make it as real as it gets. Trying to give us all the dollars we return the changes.
From pre-Inca civilization in Peru, give me this movie called Celestine Prophecies. It's a movie. Celestine Prophecies, great. It's a book actually written by James Redfield. But in the movie, there are two crackers riding down the road. These two albions are riding down the road. One turns to the other one and says, well, how did they get the land in which they have acquired? Referring to the Catholic Church. Guess what this cracker said and looked at him and said? He looked at him and said, the Moors gave it to them through a land grant. This is in the movie. Go get this movie.
But I mean,
so we should continue because we're not listening.
What are
When we aren't second-class citizens gaining benefits of any type, or theocratic tenants toiling on our land, supposedly gaining royalty success, but at the same time, all for you, right? If you sound real weak, making no sense talking about an almighty dollar. Bruh, it's all about nationality. But when you're trying to type right for the typist, the right typist might blitz with
I would still eat it.
Flurry of rich showing that we are more, which got us dancing across the ledge of the ancient seafarer. With local quick council knowing that we've been established sure positions of government. So from here, we are more motivated standing on perfect squares, thus aiming for 360, assuring no people. Operating on factology, this whole new mankind quest for retribution. But the recompense for our offer silently will pass reparation and include restitution. Nations will patiently wait, pulling thumbs like, what are you doing? Saying 40 times you are indigenous with human rights, freedom. So Malcolm was on track and he got clipped on the name. That message was to enact your own mistakes to redefine their correct aim.
You know, once all that grocery store now, all they have is farm fish.
Yeah.
My Ritz, big Lord L, Brother L, Broad Gal L, Apocalypse Now. Yeah, for real. This is we. The GCP inspired me for real. Yeah. Tick, 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 booyah. With this writ, get flipped straight to no more crawling, no more screw Who was the amnesty of made? Now me, I'm mine. God of my chest, I'm Lord of the mind. That our government. Stand with the spine of 100 men. At the front line, stand 90 degrees. No fear for machine car. Man is supreme car. We come again, do you on your knees. The I recommend that things be revealed. Don't try at the end, cause we got no beginning but the movement. She not from here, baby. Check the moon or the tomb or the sun. How about all of the above? Tick, 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 booyah. It's time for me, booyah. Here I descend from a prodigy, the other me. To the devil, now I gotta be solidly. Now I represent right, moving left. Fool everybody but the Moors, cause we made you. Son, I'm a star too, forward of the L, right. Length with height. Home is the base, reach safe, bring your light. Runway the night, Drew circle the 7. Don't know, better start soon. Can't keep it real when your life in the cartoon. Everything came free, but nigga, it'll cost you. Get with your nation, stay stateless. 14th Amendment, pointless to argue. Time ticks down, getting this cheated. Fully mistreated, no steady, just breathing. Not grown, just reaching what's on without room. Wake up. Tick, 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 booyah. With this brick, get flipped straight, booyah. No more rolling, no more screw up. Who up? Amnesty and me.
Backing up dogs with cards, national. In Northwest, some Ottawa's not my capital. Dressed like a Merlin hat, I stay magical. Stand on your birthright square, they label you radical. Flow like libations, every day it's sabbatical. I'm self-wrong, master science, mathematical. It's tragical, dramatical. This Moorish Othello, I rather black on black, I don't do black and yellow. Compass and square, fair track, Masonic fellows and matrons. Slew them not just sodomites and pagans. Most maroons need to stop saying Jamaican and calling Euros American, they are Caucasian.
Me, I'm a 9. Try to make a 7 here, try to make a heaven here. Living in the devil's land, freedom is a mental clear. Color is a spectrum, don't you see through spares? Cause the mind is a bridge of program. And the spell with the magi, medium, playing good, but they see the bad guys, feeling them, I'm reeling them. Cause I'm Moorish American, this is our land, and that's what we're inherited. Tick, 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 booyah. With this red get flipped, no more pros, no more screw up. Yo, yeah, it's me, Mr. L. Mr. Bro, Lord, Raw, Cal L. Apocalypse Now. watch the time tick, tick, then tick.
I'll be waiting till the sky falls down, till you come around, baby. I'll be waiting till the sky falls down, till you come around.
My naga say he want me rhyme harder, but I assassinate myself. I ain't no rhyme martyr. I rhyme smarter. That's suicide on the beat. Cause my affiliation is really from the streets, and you can take it as a diss, but I like things discreet. And discreet is very silent. And I've been here so long, you never noticed I arrived yet. Am I here so long? I'm surprised I survived it. Like 20 years strong, till I don't feel alive yet. What? Don't get me wrong, I'm just tired of surviving. Real. Cause I've been and still going through the struggles. I'm just here trying to figure out this puzzle. And it's clear, every day they're trying to muzzle me. But luckily I see right through the full drudgery. And I ain't got solutions, I'm just tired of the fuckery. And I know I'm God, but please don't put your trust in me.
Kujo, that's the one that's really recording, right? Because I want to show them the light.
Say what you see is what you get. I say we go in and create that reality. Yes. You better trust I am at this. I'm trying to see the world like I'm Atlas. I push a start, giving myself time to practice. Played on the rubbery, all seeing I am at this point where I feel like I know it. I'm in this moment like I own it. Stars in the sky have me zone it. In and out the time, playing catch up, controlling every next step of my journey. Had to go through a few fools trying to burn me. I'll get it in, blames don't concern me. I choose not to give them all their judgment early. No resets, no adjournment. I first plead powers that reside, I had to face it, name it, place it in the dream where I could chase it. It's all motivation to live that same dream I am chasing. And ain't no human on this earth who can take it. Till then, I'll be waiting till the sky falls down, till you come around, baby. I'll be waiting till the sky falls down, till you come around.
Is it the presence of greatness? Is why you hate this? We too gracious.
The cup overflows and the honor never stay this. We make this.
We control the matrix, article. Still a mere particle. Canyon is the article.
Peace to complete and love shows that our hearts are full.
So that means that we're honorable.
The worship hands my honorable.
My model skulls.
Reverence to the remnants of ancestors' presence.
Moorish lessons can't stop the essence. We ain't impressed, you ain't made no impressions.
I guess you're guessing we ain't ready for the back down. Future in my hands, you ain't ready for the fire, you should back down. I'm taking the crown with due diligence, no proof in my innocence. We done been there and done that. I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting till the sky falls down, till you come around.
These are more so starting soon.
I'll be waiting
Section
till the sky falls down,
very close.
I'll be waiting till the sky falls down, till you come around.
And I'm not gonna be too long. I'm gonna just
That works out. Do your thing, man. The Omar buy you a new one. What the hell is this?
What? Go back.
Yo, you have the timers off?
Yeah.
Yo.
Cheers.
Now you're eating, eh? More?
No, I'm good. Now I can learn.
They're playing with the stream.
Wow, that's how you know when they're
That's how I
messing.
do the
That's how you know when they're
messing with the camera. But the audio is picking up right there.
Wow.
Way back.
So I'll present it to this and I'll present it to that too at the same time. Let's see how
Yeah, let's do both of them. You straight.
it goes. Also, I'll put this person.
With the stream.
By not making the video.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You were here last year?
But it was like somebody that was there.
Well, you must, are you connected by blood with, Lorraine? Yeah, of course you are.
The two? No.
No?
Right, miss.
The one from Toronto, Juliana.
Oh, yeah. Well, not black blood, but,
Spirit blood.
I still see her as family, as she's family, basically, yeah.
Okay.
We've known each other a long time.
I could just
Yeah, man, you can do your thing.
okay. Again, hey everybody. Islam. Enjoy. We have again the caterers brought some food here. It's delicious. It smells great. Wish you guys got smell-o-vision. hopefully next year, right? Hopefully next year. All right. So I'm just again digital Rambe. Just here again. I'm the representative on the East Coast of Montreal. Again, I study. These Moors came to my domicile. They see how I do. You know, I study. I don't play no all day study. When on my downtime, I'm studying. However, again, you know, right now we're in a nation building time. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But when we're not getting none of that, then justice must take its course. Also, like Cujo was saying, and the other Moors were saying that also what's in your mind, man is mind, right? So whatever's in your mind, even though your intentions is to do well and good, but if you don't go take a bath, your intentions is all great, but you're still in the smell in the bush. All right, so we need a degree just to wash ourselves from the briefing or the debriefing from the brief, which is funny. The brief and underwear have the same word, right? So again, I'm just going to present information that I'm coming across. And it's really for y'all to do the research and the referencing for yourself again. So I'm going to present some information, and I'm going to try to get through this as fast as I can. And again, do your due diligence and your work. Okay, so I came across some things like a lot of well, I don't know if you're doing research or anything, but you're going to come across this new 5G stuff. This 5G cell phone, 5G internet, 5G. What is that, right? What is that? So right off the bat, 5G has two meanings. 5G, G means gigahertz, and G means generation, right? So first thing, 5 gigahertz, right? They even try to, and for you people who don't really know what's going on, be careful because my empress, they were trying to play with her, telling her about 5G, right, as the package deal, but the 5G they tricked her was 5 gigs. So 5 gigs, as you know, one DVD is not 5 gigs. So we had a plan that only had 5 gigs. So when that 5 gigs was up, boom, we started getting charged like crazy. When we had an infinite, right? We had an infinite 5G power, but they were charging us. I figured out they tricked my empress because she didn't know the difference between gigahertz and gigabytes. All right. Okay. So be aware of these two. 5G is not 5 gigs.
Right. One's a speed and one's
a speed
capacity.
And one's a power. Or I mean, excuse me. One is space, gigahertz.
Right, capacity. Yeah.
It's capacity.
Right. Right.
And one is power. Right. Gigahertz is power. Okay. So now the 5G power, the 5G gigahertz, right, is really talking about 5 gigahertz and up. So your cell phone, PHONE, pH, right? You know, anybody under 7 is acid, right? pH 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is acid, right? So cell phones also have the radiation capacity to it, which then brings your radiational vibration and radiance down, all right? Which will bring you to an acidic body, right? Okay, that's just with the phone, all right? That's with the cell phone. Okay, so routers, right? Routers, internet receivers in the computer, in your cell phone, in your neighbors, because if you have a cell phone, you have no internet, but your cell phone picks up your neighbor's cell phone signal, you're immersed in this 5 gigahertz energy field, right? Okay. The 5 gigahertz, it's not just 5 gigahertz they're playing with. It's 5 gigahertz and up. So the research is showing us that now these new high-tech devices are actually going from 5 to 200 gig of hertz. That's frying you. That's cooking you. That's cooking your liver, spleen, or wherever you put the phone near. It's cooking that. You could take, even before when we had the 3G phones, you could take a cell phone here, call each other, put an egg in here. 5 minutes later, this egg is hard boiled. That's with 3G. Okay, now you're dealing with 5 and 200 gigahertz. And then you put that phone next to little baby's head. And in the cell phone, you can go into systems. You can go into systems, right? And then go into legal. And then in there, because, you know, they wash their hands, they tell you, right? Not 4 to 6 inches, okay? From your head. From your head. That's in everybody's cell phone. They have a legal disclaimer in your systems, in the legal part, and down into RF policy. They have it there in your cell phone. And because they put this disclaimer there, if you try to come back to them saying that you have, you know, part of your brain is like bacon, okay, they can say, well, we told you not to put it on your head. In fact, we told you 4 to 6 inches away from your head. The cell phone at 3 gigahertz, excuse me. Okay. Do your research. I'm bringing that to you. Okay. You try not to put the cell phones near your baby's head. The routers, okay? The routers should be placed in the corner behind TV or something like this, right? Should not be accessible for a baby to come around and be hanging around. Even if you got animals, dogs, cats, it's gonna fry them too. If you love them, you know, try to keep those things. If you can, even if you notice, a lot of places have their stuff high up or away from right. I know because I talked to Videotron and I presented all of this when they came to my home, and the guy, well, if it's not, you know, if it's behind the TV over here, and then so they know, right? They know about this new technology. So now, okay, So now when I did the research, now these new electric lights, you know, the light bulb that go, you know, like that. Yeah. Okay, so now they're new technologies, okay? They can actually send a signal, okay, into your light, and then now it's Wi-Fi 200 gigs. They're using the light as a new Wi-Fi technology. They connect to your computer through your light, your cell phone. Therefore, also, the human brain operates on electrical, right? Impulses, right? Impulses, right? We don't have any block that stops or prohibits any other wave to come into our head. So how does this work? How does our brains work? Our brains give off signals that are actually harmonic numbers. So anger, right? Anger would be 995.8 gigahertz on a number, right? Now we're getting into heart. Heart has the ability to record these tones and then re-emit the tone back to your brain. The same numbers or different numbers that actually have anger, stress, jealousy. They have different numbers. It would be like literally like 6, 7, 8, and there'll be different types of responses attributed to the signal, which is called stimulus response. And we have no defense from this. The only defense we really have is to know yourself. Why is that? How is that able? How is knowing yourself able to counteract all of this? Well, okay. Because the brain sends signals to the arm, move the arm left. Okay, grab the eraser. It sends a signal. We go grab it. They know now because they're doing neuroplasticity with people who are quadriplegic, and then they can actually send signals to the arms, and arms doing all of this and doing all of that. So they know that you can emit signals to the body, to the brain, and you'll have a response. How do we defend that? Okay. Well, if you know that you don't like violence, if you know you don't like chocolate, all of a sudden, I feel like chocolate. I feel like spraying myself in chocolate and beating everybody up. Well, you know that's not self. But yet you have this in your mind. It's like, what the hell? And it's coming in your vocal memory. So it sounds like it's your thought, right? It's not. It's them emitting light, right? It's them emitting light through a diode, okay? All right. Know yourself, know self. So if you know that the self likes certain things, it dislikes certain things. When you have in your head things you do not like, it is not yourself. It's something else. Unless, like I told the policy, no. Your nature is to actually like destroying and destruction. That's your nature. That's what it is. I'm not really trying to get mad at you. It's just what it is. That's who you are. I'm a farmer. Yeah. And somebody else's land. That's occupancy. Yeah. You're a criminal. That's just what it is, straight, right? So once we start to know these things, right? We'll start to know the difference when there's something else trying to tap in. All right. Know yourself. Know self. Know your bottom line. Know your top line. Okay. Got something to show y'all. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do this like this really quickly. Okay. What is a light emitting diode? Okay. So I'll try to run this to this thing here. If you guys can see this, I have a camera, ordinary webcam, right? Ordinary webcam. Okay. Right? Okay. In this webcam, which you guys think is a camera, right? is inside there. You see, it looks like a light, right? It's just like, right? It doesn't have no image on there, right? Inside, there's a chip. It's a light emitting diode chip. Why am I showing you this? Showing all you guys. All right, there's a little chip in there. All right, there's a little chip in there. Right, little chip. Why am I showing you this? Because our TVs, our phones, they all have what we call LED lights. These LED lights, you take this little plastic lens, you put it on this little LED, you put it on the light emitting diode, which everybody got in their TV. And you start to see focusing coming in. Okay? You're starting to see the focusing coming in. After I put on this little plastic thing. This is like literally $10 I bought. Okay? Why am I showing you that? Okay. Where's the marker? Okay, so our TVs, especially if you've got the LED TV, what you got, right? There's a bunch of LEDs. With what? A screen on top of it. Which is what? A lens. Which is what? Okay. You have a speaker. Okay. The speaker sends out information. You take the same speaker and you reverse the polarity. This speaker now becomes a microphone. Same speaker. This is the same mechanism working with the screen too. Just like the video camera has the LED screen on this side, and sometimes you got some of the old. Remember, I don't know if y'all remember this. If you can remember the old school video cameras, sometimes you would actually see the playback in the lens. All right. So yeah. So again, do your guys' due diligence. I wouldn't, in case you don't care about your bum on screen. This is what's happening, and it's funny. There is a Simpsons, and you do know that the owner of the Simpsons, the writer, the scribes of the Simpsons, has access to the supercomputer. And everybody's even on the news, mainstream news. They're talking about Simpsons always somehow predicting events, and like with 100% accuracy, they have supercomputer access. Okay. Yesterday, they had the Google glasses. They had the Google glasses, and Homer had the Google glasses, right? But the work gave him the Google glasses, and Mr. Burns had the Google glasses, but Mr. Burns had the glass, each one of those glasses, a picture spying on the. So Homer took the glasses home, started going under the bed covers with his wife, and then he went back to work, and he went to go see Mr. Burns, and Mr. Burns wasn't there, and then he seen Maggie over here. And he's like, oh, what the? Then he thought, and he goes, wait a minute. Yeah, you were under the bed with your woman with the glasses. And yeah, so they're telling you, right? They're telling you that these technologies, and believe me, what they're telling you, they have about 40 years to 100 years advanced. I would say even more so advanced. All right? The UFOs are not from outer space. They're from inner space. All right? This right here, I was, just studying some science. So I like science. I love science. This is just a printout of what they're, just branches of science, contents essence of science, scientific method, branches of science, natural science, formal science, social science, applied science, so on. So I'm in one part and I was going through it and I come to definitions. And in here, they have, I don't know if this is going to see it or anything. Right? You see the red line, quantum computing. Quantum computing. What's quantum computing? Remember, this is on Wikipedia as a definition. Okay, this is definition. Okay. Quantum computing. Watch out for them Google glasses, Monty. Okay. That was for you, Connor. All right. Okay, so quantum computing. Quantum computing. All right. So quantum computing is a device for computation that makes direct use of quantum mechanical phenomena. Okay, so quantum as superposition entangled. Sorry, these are new definitions, and we have to really look at them. We have to really go in on them because this is what's going on. And people are like, well, what's happening? How come they're not doing? We're going down a street, and the next thing you know, that street is not the same way it used to be. Okay. Quantum computing is defined as, okay, so a device for computation that makes direct use of quantum mechanical phenomena such as superposition and entanglement to perform operations on data. Okay, we're talking about the supercomputer and artificial intelligence and the 5G. Okay, what is superposition? What is superposition? I don't know if somebody has access to, like, I know these new dictionary, older dictionaries won't have superposition. So in a way, for everybody online, go look it up and research it. I'll just really quickly tell you what it is, and then you go research it. Superpositioning or superposition is the ability of the atom to not only be here and also reverberate and manifest somewhere on the other side of the universe. It has that ability. Superposition. That's like in Star Trek when you get beamed and transported from one place to another. That's transportation. Superposition is the ability of the atom to kind of be here and there. In fact, the atom can be 360 degrees anywhere it wants to be at the same time. Not be transported there, but actually here. Anywhere that you're, if I'm, okay, so I know Cujo is behind me, but because I'm not looking at him, he's possibly anywhere in the 360-degree beyond my sight anywhere. In fact, he's not only in, he's everywhere at the same time. And we call that superposition. Entanglement is when you have sciatic nerves, right? You have a nerve that goes from your head down to the arm, down to the leg, back all the way up to the head. All right? Where the nerve crosses, where it crosses here, right there, is what we call entanglement. So sometimes we get what we call ghost pain, or phantom pain, is when somebody had an arm cut off, finger cut off, something's gone, but yet they still feel the pain. They still feel that apparatus or that part of them still there. They call that ghost pain or phantom pain. That is happening because when the brain sending those signals again down the main arteries and channels, they cross. And when they cross, the signal can jump onto another nerve and then relay that pain. You call that entanglement. Okay, you call that entanglement. Why is all of this pertinent? Because the 5G, the 200 gigahertz, and the supercomputer, okay, has access to this quantum mechanical phenomena, such as superposition and entanglement. So what does that mean? It means that the computer itself has access to the fabric of space and time. And time and space. Hence equals Mandela effect. EFFECT, smooth operator, okay? Y'all better do your research and understand this. You better understand this. They're coming for us. And the only way we do have power over this. And again, the only way we can quail this and counteract that and like algebra, what you have over here equals this, they cancel out. Okay? Once you have on this side, on that side, the same thing, they cancel out each other. Just like, you got a helicopter, they got one side, the blades, and the other side, the blades, they cancel out each other. You ever see the two like this? They cancel out each other and they create lift. All right? So, when you know self, they can send every information, any energy to you, right? If you know self, if this wave is not equal to you, you will know. All of that will just cancel, bang. What do you mean? I don't want to argue with my wife. I don't want to argue with my loved one. I don't want to argue with my baby. You'll automatically know that you're being waved out. Know thyself, none of this will ever bother you. Unless you really want, and that you're upset, you're angry or whatever, and then that's even good to know too. Because if you build up too much of that negative energy, well, what will happen will produce that negative gas inside self. You don't breathe to the nose, breathe to the mouth. You get nitrogen in your head instead of oxygen, and the heat with nitrogen, kaboom. Know yourself, know thyself. It will counteract all of their waves. They want to come blast us, and because I explained that in one of my videos before. The HARP, using all of this technology, are able to blast. They're able to send out, from satellites, different parts of the planet, right? They can send out waves wherever they want. right? They can send this out for wherever they want, and they got new technologies. Again, this is old technology, but this is what they can do at a minimum. This is what they can do at a minimum. All right, this is just a minimum. So when you know thyself, it don't matter what energy is coming at you, it ain't going to deter you off of yourself. Islam. Okay, and just really quickly, I want to just if there's any mores online or here from this jurisdiction, I just want to just give a testimony, if you would, with the just recently, this coming into the winter time, they had in this jurisdiction, they had their
administrative sort of what?
They look for the new de facto government. Before it was Denis Corday, now it's Valerie Plante. Her representative, who represents NDG Cotonage, her name is Sue Montgomery. One day I was standing outside my home, and fezzed up all the time, just going door to door. My empress goes, there's actually it was this is really funny. Okay, so Gabriel Recta. Gabriel, all right? Gabriel, he's actually, you look him up. This brother, he's an Ethiopian, right? Brother who used to work on Team Eket Corday. He used to work, he's NDG representative for Denis Corday. He came to my home. Check this out. This guy, you've been in my, you see the way that my house is set up, right? My door is open. I can see straight down from where I researched. I can see if there's somebody in front of my door, if they're buzzing, if they got their hand in my mailbox, which this guy had his hand in my mailbox. So I come in, I'm like, hey, whoa. I don't know who he is, right? He's got all his papers there. I said, wait, whoa. What are you doing with your hand in my mailbox? He stepped back. He goes, well, I was just looking to see. No, you can't look to see. Do you know that that's the jurisdiction of the UPU? The guy stepped back and goes, you mean the Universal Postal? Yeah, the Universal Postal Union, yeah. He goes, yeah. Oh, so you know what the UPU, right? Then he gives me a flyer, and on the flyer I see him there, and I'm like, okay. He goes, yeah, I was trying to put this in but I didn't. I said, yes, you can open it, put something in there. As soon as you open it, start looking inside, that's an invasion of privacy. And I said, I'm kind of surprised I have to tell you that. He goes, yes, I know. Actually, I'm sorry, apologizing. After that, never heard from this guy again. Right? This is a Cushite Moor from Ethiopia, right? Second guy, Cyril. This dude came to my home, fessed up in my, right? Same thing. He's like, this dude is like, this guy is the ultimate redneck, Canadian, right? Also, just talking to him, saying he didn't really go in my mailbox, but I was like, well, who are you? He goes, well, I'm Cyril. I'm running for NDG representative, borough mayor, blah, blah, blah. I was like, but that's the facto. He just kept going. He just watched. This one here, Sue Montgomery. I like her. She came, she was bubbly, man. She came, she was like, hey, I'm standing by my door. I see her. She went to the neighbor. I know the neighbors. So by the time she came, she came to see me, and she's very bubbly. She was very positive. She was very good energy. She came right up to me. I'm like, this is my, I'm standing there. She came like, hey, was like right beside me, like this, right? But then I was like, well, who are you? She goes, she's Sue Montgomery, right? Sue Montgomery. I'm not sure if it's two M's or not. Excuse me, I'm not European.
Usually one M.
Usually one M. Okay. Sue Montgomery was the only one out of all of these de facto people usurping our land and resources, is the only one that was like, hey, what? You got a fez? I said, yeah. She goes, I said, well, yeah, it's Fez, and most people think, you know, so I started educating her, you know, most people think it's from Turkey and all of that, and then, you know, I had to bring her back. She goes, no, I know. She goes, because Sue Montgomery, in fact, was in charge of the murdered, I'm just gonna put acronyms, man, right? So murdered indigenous women and girls, right? Murdered indigenous women and girls. She was in charge of this, which they actually yesterday canceled the last date of. I don't know if you guys were paying attention, but they completely canceled this. All right. Sue Montgomery told me she was in charge of the murdered indigenous women and girls inquiry. She told me that this place, okay, she left this, canceled this, because this was a fiasco. This was not, they were making jokes. They weren't really investigating murdered indigenous, missing, what they were doing, nothing. This was the head of this, Sue Montgomery. She left that. She's telling me this at my home in my face, just disclosing information about how this organization is a fraud. So now for how many ever years that this group was investigating missing and murdered women, has actually not been doing anything at all.
It's because they found that it was the same RCMP that used to take those women and drop them.
In a lot of cases.
Right? Okay, so that's one. But when I was talking to her, I said there's more than one reason why. First of all, you're having this happen to those people. For one, we know as Moors, the fall of tears, right? The fall of tears, if y'all don't know, okay, is when the pale Native Americans here, the Mongolians, sold out the original people of the Americas. Research, I'm just telling you again, I'm bringing what I come to and y'all do the research, right? Okay. The fall of tears is a war that happened in the Great Lakes, okay? And I can even, I've came across some other indigenous websites where they have documented where they call the Pale Indians have made faulty and false land claims and land deals. Also reference Spanish fraudulent land claims. Okay, it's all about making land claims that were fraud. They had no jurisdiction, no right to make these land claims with people who have no right to even be here in the first place. Once we get that in our minds straight, once we understand that, understand that, understand where it has happened from the beginning, the inception and now our outro of it, okay, is when all of this stuff is going to end. The Fall of Tears is a war that has happened with the pale-skinned Mongolian people calling themselves Indians, which are Mongolians. Facts come from the Alaskan Bering Strait. And when they came here, they warred with the peoples of the Americas, which actually come from the southern parts of the Americas. And they always like to say, you know, America, Africa, and the people who got to America came through this way. That's the only way that they come, without telling you that the lands used to be together. And, you know, the Israelites, which they call the crossing, crossed from here, and there were still people there when they got there. Who are these people that was there when these lands was more together? When the Israelites crossed over, there's people here. Who was there?
Olmec.
If you say Olmec, then that means you disconnect yourself from Olmec and don't say self. It's Olmec, right? You look like an Olmec,
yeah,
right? So we know that these people had to wait for the ice to recede before they got over here. But the Mi'kmaq will tell you, and I got it right here, the Mi'kmaq and Algonquin will tell you that they were here 20,000 years living even on the ice. They were here with the ice. And that they were fighting with these guys for thousands of years before. Wars before European come. All right? Wars before European come. Hundreds of years before they came, we were warring. We were warring. Once again, we know once you start warring amongst self, you break yourselves down, you let yourself subject to anything outside. So great, that's my little input. That's my awesome for now. Again, also my lady and I we make fezzes. Okay, I don't know if you can really see that, but at the moment, we're also in the processes of making another baby. She's 7 months pregnant, and I have a 2-year-old that, people that's from this jurisdiction, they kind of know her, and I've been doing this ever since she was born or come on this planet through way of the mother. So I have those. At the moment, it's not going to be mass produced, but we will produce them as for. You have to call her and call us, and then deal with it like that. And until because we got the baby, it's very tiresome. It's tired on her, tired because I got the baby. I don't have nobody outside looking after my daughter. She has a slave at the hospital, so I watch my daughter. My daughter's with me. I ain't letting nobody, especially knowing all of this stuff. It ain't happening. Not happening. Right. So. So great, man. It's beautiful seeing everybody. Again, my contact is DigitL, DJEDELBEY, DigitLBay @gmail. Phone number 514-297-4963. Again, I'm here as a liaison, as the ambassador for this side. Also the Sheik in this territory. So if you need any problems, you have any problems, reach me as fast as you can. Hi, Islam. Peace to the thank you. Peace to the Moors online and Islam.
From the position that we in Canaanland is maybe, let's say, somewhat like the Ottawa of the Moors up in this Regency, right? Maybe a little bit maybe of the centralized part or whatever. We're also been looking to try and get this area and Montreal active. We've been doing stuff, getting affidavits out there and writs out there to start the dialogue that he's doing in person. You guys start doing it as an entity. We can sit down here and whatever the issue is that you're talking about, whether they're the carding or whatever, we start doing some affidavits and start getting some, because they're going to have to respond, and in that response, they're going to expose themselves. They may also capitulate. They may also say, "Okay, more sorry, it's your turn. Here's your house. Here's your temple. Get to work." Right. So that's what we're looking to do as a collective, within helping, even meeting sometimes maybe on a Skype lecture once a month. Get some affidavits together that are across the boards from Toronto. So we're hitting our mayor, you're hitting your mayor, and then we're coming together as a cohesive group like the other groups do. Right. If you walk out here right now, the Polish are just meeting down that hallway, and they're all brothers, and there's about 80 of them in there. Yep. They're all supporting. If you go downstairs right now, there's some. Yeah, there's a West Indian. It's a West Indian party. Goes right downstairs. You'll see. And I walked into the 25 at the door. Yeah. So when you walk by and however many people you see there, you realize that those people came to, let's say, that little jump up. Yeah. $25 a pop. Yeah. And that's why that's for entertainment. We're not even talking about real business stuff. We're talking about them having fun. On a Saturday night, giving 25 for a DJ and whatever, right?
And to build on, I forgot to also say is that to build what Omar was saying is that Sue Montgomery also, out of all of those people, she was very interested. Was like, oh, well, we got to do something. She was the only one that was like saying also, as the mayor and representative of the borough mayor, we need to do something together. Which was Gepta, which is from Ethiopia, didn't even want to. He just wanted to get out of there. Cyril didn't want to speak to me, and Sue Montgomery, who has relations with indigenous people, was okay. Let's do something. And if you go on to Valerie Plante's mission statement, in her mission statement is claiming abandon. She wants to not enforce, but to promote amongst the Quebec people green spaces, which is taking abandoned land and fixing them up. That's part of her mission statement, right on the front page. So when we come in with and we now know, because I do my research, is that every nation is allowed a building and a space for religious observance or observance. so it's not, you don't even have to be national.
So probably as related to how every nation has an embassy.
Yes.
Right.
And depending on the size, you see the Arab one is huge, the American one is huge.
The Moroccan one too, which I've been to.
Is probably whatever, right? So, and ultimately what we realize is that this de facto government is acknowledging the Aboriginal and the Indigenous here. We wrote off to our mayor in regards to him giving us some acknowledgement, and he wrote back, oh, well, we've already given you a day. They gave us June 21st, which is National Aboriginal Day.
Wow.
Stating now that if we're Aboriginal, Indigenous, then we should be using that date. Now what we know is that's the fraud. They're connecting us to the fraud of the so-called BIA Indian. All we now have to do is get them to acknowledge, or not even have to get them. All we have to do is acknowledge ourselves as Aboriginal, and then let them know that if you're acknowledging anything, then you're acknowledging us as well.
Yeah.
Right. And then we're not looking for you for anything.
Right.
We're looking for you. What we're looking to do is look into the rights of Indigenous children and groups, where you're now supposed to give us some finance to get our shit up.
Right.
That's what's written now in the United Declarations of Indigenous and Aboriginal People. They're here to help us now, and they're supposed to get the hell out.
Yeah.
Now that's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen if we keep calling ourselves black, and it's not going to happen anyways because they ain't letting go until they see till they face death in the face, and that's going to come from us waking up and letting them know that we're not their slave anymore. Right? It's that connected, right? So, anyways.
So we want to open up the floor if anybody got questions. Our time is always an illusion.
Illusionary short. So what we're looking to do is 9:05. We're looking to maybe go for another hour. I think there's some desserts that we have to put out, or coconut something. What is it?
Called magic cookie.
Yeah, go on.
We have a green cracker base, chocolate, coconut, milk, cashews and pumpkin crushed along with coconut and stuff, and some fresh fruits.
So what the plan is there's dessert there, and then about half an hour, 40 minutes, we're gonna start cleaning up. What we'll do is we're putting an offer out, so you guys can each take a plate. Well, we don't have, unfortunately, next year we'll remember the takeout trays. So we got a plate that you can make a plate with food, cover it. I think there might be saran wrap, you can go with that plate. That's as an offer to you guys, right? And then by about 10 o'clock, while this is still going on, we're gonna look to get this stuff out of here, and so that the caterers can be released from their duty. They come from Ottawa. So they travel down here too. They travel down here at 10 in the day. They got here at 12, hung out with us, came set up. But what I know from being the administrator, what I want to do is have them set up so that they can go. Right. Like when they're ready, right? Or help them out. So not we've helped, but we have helped them get their stuff together and out. As I was saying, what we know too with the catering, they don't want to drive this stuff all the way back home. But the problem is we just didn't bring the nice
take off
with the lid and
we're a little first crack.
Time or second time. We've been here once before, you guys maybe, but we're looking to make this a yearly thing, if not a bi-yearly thing. Right? And let's get going.
And again, on our side, I'm just looking to recruit and just get this thing going with Digit. But so far, me and him, it's going at it, talking to people,
Well, but here's what we know, and this is something we've come to. Better to have a team of 3 that are hardworking than 8 that aren't working, because what happens is you're carrying along dead weight. And that's what we've still come to right now. Okay, you want to have 50 people, but we'll take 5 that are ready to move.
Move right now.
So if you guys are ready, then it's going to be not 15 in Montreal. It's going to be the 2. And then we're going to come together. We're going to keep, and it's going to become one of those exponential things. We know that. Right? The sheep start to follow once everyone's looking up. They start looking up, right? And I don't mean that in that sense, but
that's exactly what it is.
Well, yeah. So anyway, so go ahead. Question, answer, question.
So we want to throw, if anybody has questions, you could throw those out.
We're also hooked up. He's doing an internet thing, so there could be, if not you, because we're catering to you guys, but then if not, we'll hit some people up that are on Ustream. Right. How many are there?
Right now we got.
There was 50 at one point.
48, 43.
43 people right now are here.
Yeah, 43 right now.
Crazy, right? If you think about that.
Question? I know you had one.
Yeah, when I got
arrested by the aggressor, and they bring it to the office. And when they saw they're like they're surprised. They're gonna tell you, oh, wow, you're different. You're intelligent, and make you feel special. And after that, they bring me the paper. Can you sign? While they want give me compliment, and I'm like, who you want to sign? The natural person or the person? She's like, you. I'm like, okay. So I write, all right, reserve. And after that, I make a complaint. And she called me after that. She's like, I didn't know how to react. I wanted to call to the judge. And the judge said that you need to write your name. I'm like, what kind of name, I already signed, like, I'm the one who's talking about something happening to me. And now you want me, to sign something else just because you want to talk to the dead person. So that's why, I asked Kujo, like, what would be, my next step? Because I have to meet them on Monday so she can take my complaint seriously. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So what we understand with them is that they don't ever they always want to save face. They don't want to ever look like it was them. They're the ones that did it. They're the ones that you're going to point at and say, you guys are the ones or whatever, right? So, like with the brother, they want to be able to have some type of jurisdiction to be able to go ahead with the process, because you have all these people looking that they can't just do it how it should be done, dismiss it, and that's it. You know what I mean? Because it's not just you. There's other family people involved. There's police involved. There's different arenas that are involved in it. So with you saying to them, well, I'm going to reserve my rights, and they're saying, well, in order for us to take it seriously, you can't do that. So for people who don't know, all rights reserved is basically whenever you're doing a contract, on the line that says signature, you write on the line, all rights reserved, before you sign. Because if you don't reserve your rights, you're dealing with people who are monetizing contracts internationally. So they can lift your signature off, put it on other documents, sell it to China, sell it to Saudi Arabia, sell it to whatever, right? You're not there, so you don't know that this is going on, right? But if you have all rights reserved on there, and then you put your signature over it, if they lift that, they're lifting that. And there's no way that they're gonna be able to sell that monetized instrument elsewhere with the signature not being clear, right? Another aspect to look at it is before, when there were DVDs, you put in a DVD, first thing they're gonna tell you that FBI warning, do not copy the whatever. That's the movies reserving their rights. They'll sue your ass if you copy our stuff, even though people do it anyways, and then they don't sue anybody, right? Because it's not, they can't really go after people because that's a corporation. But if the other person, the people are a corporation and they're a corporation,
they're going.
Then they're gonna go, which is the same thing with what you're dealing with.
And Sophia Stewart went through that too.
Right. With her in the Matrix. Right. So what you're going through is them realizing that by you doing this, traps them.
Yeah, because I didn't put no name. I just
all rights reserved. Right. So because you did that, they can't really move on the because nobody contracted with them. It's just them sitting there.
They're like alone. Okay.
So they need somebody. So in order to make it official, they need a corporate person to sign off on their activity, which again is if you're the one that did something, but then they're coming to you to say, well, can you do this thing so we can do whatever over here? Obviously, they're not the ones with the power, right? Yeah, but
I think I see this from a different angle. I think what I see is that since everything's operating off corporate, the trust status, which is us being under a trust bond from the fact that they're the trustees and we're the trustors, because obviously we can't govern our own affairs, then what they're really looking for is proof that we're still wards and minorities. And by signing a straw, we have then admitted to the fact that we don't know who we are, which then allows them to continue to dip into the account, which is what this is really all about. It's not about the corporate straw, because they could do that themselves. It's about the living person giving them the auspices or the right to do fraud by the fact that you are then doing fraud yourself by signing the straw.
Right. Without all rights reserved on it.
You could sign your national name, but they of course couldn't dip into anything there, right, because they don't have the right, because they're the dead ones at that point, right? So that's how I see that corporate.
No, the other part with that is when they say this thing with dip into the account, people are gonna start talking about PPSAs, UCCs,
private
claim the straw man,
private property,
right? Which again is going back to what Brother Omar is saying, that there's an account. All the stuff that people say is tax people's dollars and are paying for this and that. That's tax people's dollars is people's own stuff that they're paying to these people, where they're going into this account to pay for everything. They're not using taxpayers. The taxpayer stuff is for these guys to have their office and their building and their court and their, that's not what they're using to fix the roads and all that, right? They're going here to go get that. The idea of going through these processes is because there is an account, right? Dollar value, who knows, whatever, unlimited. But people are gonna tell you, well, you could do this, you could do this, you could do these things, just 100 notes, 1,000 notes, whatever, you go to this account, unlimited credit, pay off all your debts, fix your credit, everything's gonna be great. If they're playing that this account, if this account is unlimited, then why are they asking you for something? Why are they asking you to pay if they have an account that's unlimited? They should just be doing the process for free, just because they have it unlimited. As soon as you start saying all rights reserved, as soon as you start saying I'm not strawman, I'm a national or whatever like that, you cancel this up. They don't have access to it like they have access, because you're the one that gives them access to it by having a birth certificate, by having a license, by having social, by having all these instruments that they created that have nothing to do with the people. It's all corporate documents, and then the people accept the corporate documents as my ID, my license, my passport, my whatever, when it's really not mine. It's theirs. And the only reason that we're using it is under threat, duress, and coercion. The only way we're using it is because if we don't have it, these guys have guns, billy clubs, whatever like that, they might do something crazy just because, right? So we would say with regard to this, same thing that you addressed it. Well, if you're telling me sign here, Like, who you want to sign? Because you've been dealing with the natural person, which, because you're dealing with the natural person, you guys don't have jurisdiction. You know, you outline all the stuff. Because you're dealing with the natural person, you guys don't have jurisdiction, you guys don't have whatever. So if you're telling me to sign in something other than my free national name, then obviously you're practicing human trafficking. Would you sign if you knew that I was practicing human trafficking? You ask them.
It's more like a suggestion that would be helpful. Like, we know all these scenarios that play out. We all experience something. Is there something like a guideline that could be set up that, okay, if this happens, no.
Yes. If it was, if they were de jure, you might have that. But because they're taking a position of color, then fraud has no statute of limitations when you're dealing with them. So even if they say something in your favor, don't really take it like, you know, they're saying something in your favor. Still know that around there somewhere there's a bear trap somewhere. Just check, make sure.
That's what I'm saying.
That they're not, you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. In terms of guidance, like exactly what you say, like something kind of a guiding information. Not necessarily that it's the book,
right,
but in scenarios where you could say, okay, this plays out, try this.
Yeah.
That could be provided for.
Well, one of the things like we were talking about earlier, that this information is really supposed to raise the individual to a higher spiritual level. So once they get to this spiritual level, there shouldn't be the attacks. The attacks should yield. The only way the attacks are still coming is because these people know that if they let you go with what you've been doing, then it's over for them. And they're not losing like that. They're not going down like, you know, with, you know, the eye, the face swollen and all that stuff. They want to leave the fight like they never got touched. Even though they got their ass kicked. They want to kill the illusion that, no, we didn't lose or whatever like that. We still have our company and we still have our whatever when they lost.
And I think the other part to the response to that, to me, would be from the perspective, it's like we're giving you some training on how to do something. If we give you from A to Z, then you don't learn anything. So ultimately, the process behind this, like he's saying, it's about an evolution. So you have to experience that for yourself by having everything laid out, which is what the European is doing. He puts you into a wardship status because what is happening is you then can't defend yourself. You're needing help. Therefore, you become a minority. Therefore, you then become a ward to them, and then they're allowed to then do all their stuff because you can't govern yourself. So for us to have some kind of handbook like that would be good on a certain level, but it doesn't help the movement out beyond that, which is really to bring everyone into the consciousness. So that's probably another reason why something like that wouldn't really be good.
I think if there's a way that
there's two back there.
if there's a way that we can operate, you know, I get no point. And then I was asking Kujo that also we can get to a point to operate as a unit. You know, like when the church have a problem, they move together.
Right.
You know, like a Black Panther.
That also is spiritual.
You know, spiritual. You know, when the Arab people, even these people have some problem, they move together as a unit.
Right.
You know, like that's the, you know.
This is what we're talking about with the people in this jurisdiction getting themselves organized, right? Because the things that you're seeing that other people are doing, we can do. We've just never gone about it from the perspective of we're a nation. We've gone from the perspective we're a color, we're a continent, we're an adjective, we're everything else, but not a nation. And then everybody else is moving on. We're a nation. We're Chinese. We're Hindustani. We're Greek. We're French. We're whatever. And our people aren't realizing that the reason why they have unity because they have a nationality.
You know,
not because they identify themselves as colors or fiction.
Think about this, exactly what he's saying. They'll always have the Chinese movement, the this movement. What do we have as our movement? When does that ever come? You have Black Lives Matter, but it's not even black. It's not even about the black movement. It's about Black Lives Matter.
Right.
So it's like adjective, something else, right? So we're never even giving ourselves that autonomy.
Just like with what Jen was saying, that if we say, if we're talking about 711 AD, the Moors did the whatever like that. Obviously, you don't see them as yourself. You took yourself out the equation by saying the Moors. Or say we ruled 711. We brought all the knowledge to Europe.
I think that's because we were taught the physical.
No, because we weren't taught any of that at all.
Well, in a sense, because of what we see, like everything has to be tactical and physical. You know,
Yeah,
the spiritual
tangible
right.
Things, yeah.
The spiritual as a unit where we act together and we move together, we understand together that this is what is. Rather than, we have to associate with this and that and that.
Right.
All the different organizations
right.
and all
like
that.
even when we look at one of the groups that we look at heavy in Toronto is the Tamils. Right? Because they could get the street shut down, whatever like that, do whatever it is that they do. They got their dagger, they do whatever they do. Right? I know Tamils who say Assalamu alaikum. Tamils who say, hey, how you doing? Tamils who are Tamil. Tamils who are Christian. Tamils who whatever stuff. But when the go down gets to go down, they're Tamil. They're not playing that their religions or that they're any of the other stuff that our people would move toward when we start talking about unity. All right. If we have a black unity, whatever, they have about 50 flags up there. Every Caribbean, whoever's going to bring their flag, then all the conscious, whoever's going to bring their flag, right? Dealing with that mundane, right? But when young brothers were taking t-shirt tied on their head, that's turban. That's that same spiritual stuff that we even know that the ancestors were using us. Like you're sitting there in front of the mirror like, yeah, my shirt looks good on my head and all that stuff. Yeah. But that was really a turban, right? Brothers wear the shirt down here. That was a really jalabia. When they had the long t-shirt. Everybody look at these guys got a long t-shirt, what are they doing? That's whatever. That's Islamic culture. Stuff. That's Moorish culture that they were exercising. But without the knowledge.
You remember the European talking about the brother wearing the long shirt, he looks good in it.
Right.
Remember he says he looked like a
yeah.
And also I would like to bring also when we as sleep black people knew at one point we were also told, come back to your mother, is that at some point we knew that we were kings and queens and rulers of the planet. So then when we bring and present these were the kings and queens and rulers of the planet. These are the ones that took Europeans out of darkness. These are the ones that taught them how to use soap and how to, prepare the food properly, how not to live amongst animals that I was going to farm. It's like, oh, no, that's not it. No. There were some other kings we were. Problem, right? So at some degree, we are going to have to self-discipline self to actually know the true self of self. You have to do that yourself. Everybody must proclaim for themselves and worship under their own vine and fig tree. So if we're worshiping under some other vine and fig tree, and then we've got the reaction from every action, which we know has an equal balance of, and we're sitting there going, whoa, and you're complaining, and then
that's why all these Europeans on the free man sovereign, they don't really get wins like that. They could talk good game or whatever, but they're not returning to their own vine and fig tree. They're not being who it is that they are. They're claiming that they're free men of the land. Well, okay, well, if you're a free man, how is it that you're in somebody else's land claiming that? You'd be claiming that where you come from.
Right.
You're not claiming free man in somebody else's land. Right? You know, they're children of God. All right. If you're a child of God, and then dark thing people say a black man is God, then what do you guys? Where's your sovereignty really from? If you're a child of God, and we know God isn't some being out there or whatever, God is Asiatic people that people see every day pass on the street, don't recognize that. Oh yeah, that's God or whatever. If you go ask the Greeks, they're going to take you to their little whatever, and then all the gods of Greece are dark-skinned people. You go to Rome, all the popes, all the whoever's
Black Madonna.
Dark-skinned people.
Madonna.
Popes pray into a black Madonna. You know what I mean?
Greeks also.
You go to any European, whoever, they're doing their little Christmas stuff like that, going on the street, praying on the street. They're carrying a big thing of a dark-skinned Yahshua, right? Actually went to the Basilica right over there. That joint. People with locks and all of that. They might have them on white marble or whatever, but if it's locks, clearly that's not European, right? If they we're talking about the thing with the representation of astrology in there. That people are going, oh Jesus, and they're praying the cross or whatever, but they're not even giving one bow or one Hail Mary to all the astrological signs that they're showing, which those are celestial bodies. They're showing those things throughout the whole basilica, and people are giving that no attention but this guy on the cross. That they know that he's not even real. It's not even like it's not real. They know that. That's a whatever material it's made of on a stage. It's like people looking at the screen and say, oh yeah, that girl and all that stuff like that. That's not a girl, that's a screen you're looking at. Same thing what Jed's talking about. You get caught up with these machines talking to you. You know, you sit there, oh yeah, I'm talking to my friend. You're not talking to my friend. You're talking to that device. You sit in front, that's not my favorite show. You're getting programmed by that screen that you're watching. Oracle is programming you to be a nerd.
Thank God for
thank God for
my thought just now that when as you were speaking was the other day when the people were kicking up about the slavery in Syria. Okay. There was this so-called leader here from the coalition, Black Coalition, wanted to go to Ottawa and march. I said, you in 2018 want to go march against something that isn't supposed to be, that was abolished how many years ago?
Yeah.
You are not a leader.
Yeah.
Because if that is your action today in 2018
to
stop something that shouldn't be happening after it was already abolished.
Yeah.
You're only a follower. That's a perpetuator.
There's something missing in between it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not marching for anything.
And this is the point that, you know, there's a beauty. There's a beauty about unifying and doing things together with people who are in your mindset. There's something about that you know is the most empowering thing. We'll say like when we went to Ottawa a few weeks ago, and we went to Parliament, right? And our mode of transport there was legs, right? As we're walking, there's people around that they're just froze, like mind blown. Like, what am I looking at right now? Who are these people? What are they doing here? What Like what's going? Like it was a paradigm shift for everybody who was present. Anybody who said I'm just they were just outside for whatever, and they looked over there and they saw fezzes and turbans. They were stuck. They were in a time warp, right? Just like with the one that was here, the Turk. You could tell the Turk story.
Yeah, so I get into the elevator, and the Moor comes up and he just goes. He stares at my chest because he's staring at this. He goes, Egypt. And I go, yeah, Egypt. He goes, yeah. He goes, nice hat. I said, no, it's a fez. He goes, I know. So I said, why'd you say hat? And he just, you know what I mean? So,
see, it's on you.
Because we have those in my country. So,
Right.
just here.
She'll tell you when they do that. Oh, I correct them quick. Your country? You mean Turkey? What was it before that? Oh, I don't. Oh, what was it before that? Oh, okay. So you're saying that these come from Turkey, but there was like lands before that,
generations before you. Yeah.
But I mean, you see,
Yeah.
and I'm not against that. I just think that, like, against what he's saying, because I've challenged him too on that. I just think we, as the people here, need to see what we're really about.
Yeah, exactly.
Not about, because they know. They've been running the show on our side.
Big deal.
They've been running the show on our side. We got to take our science back and uplift our community. That's it. And I think it's done time that we know that this is the true way. Like, none of us need any more proof about that. No. And we can all think about this. And I think about this. 10 years ago, I was arguing with some policy enforcer about him being racist. Now I know it wasn't racism. It was it was denationalization. And then when I also realized that this is it. This is the end game right here. You've reached it. Whether you want to take it on and go with it. And I know you've been fooled before. That was their job, to make sure that you figured that there's got to be something else. And maybe there is. Maybe the next one is the universal man who's connected to the international thing that's going on there. But what I realize it is, we're never going to get there until our awareness gets there. The reason why those other planets are populated, we can't see them because we don't have the awareness. We're vibrating at a different level. We're at the lowest level.
And also to come back to what you were saying before about us looking to be recognized by them, when in fact it's us to be recognizing them or not.
No, it's really about acknowledging our true selves.
Which would then,
and then on top of that, unfortunately, which is, and I'm saying it to the sisters, it's really about putting you back into the position where you have to also
be on that high road.
You have to be on that high road.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, the real attack, and this is what I realized, has been against you guys from day one. And you're suffering
because
it.
we give birth.
Right.
That's basically it.
Right, but it's also because of everything else, though. But I'm saying that I think what's happened is the God power that you have has allowed you to then sort of still sort of live in your godliness, because at any time you're still just producing.
Right.
But ultimately, and the fractalization have gone.
Yeah, and that in some type of secret way, everybody's acknowledging you.
Oh, yeah.
They might not come out in the open, but know that anything that they're doing, the ritual is to make sure that woman either gives them their energy, right?
Or they're helping.
Or that they're helping keep the stuff going on.
Perpetuate.
Church, women run that. Any type of health care or whatever like that, women.
Old age, women.
Old age, women run that.
Offices.
Any type of man's favorite whatever is a woman. Never a man or a masculine or whatever.
Nurturing.
Women will make a man say, you know what, I'm gonna clean up the house and put up curtains and do certain things that we won't normally do. We'll clean up every weekend. Let man be on this house alone, and then man have a woman there. It's not going to be the same house.
Well, not only that, if you see things a lot too. If you look at the advertising, it's always about a woman. If you ever notice any of the fashion advertising, it's always about a woman, and usually around her crotch area or her bosom area, or her legs being open, and all that kind of stuff. All that science too. That's the lower self stuff. But it's always the women selling everything too.
Yeah, using her energy.
Right. But again, it's about taking our trip all the way here to show support, Brother Alfonso, Brother Jed,
Dwight.
Right? Brother Dwight, and to show that the things could be done, right? We're a living example. We've been doing this since 2008. We've had so many people in and out of our doors or whatever that it's you could say it's by the grace of Allah why we're still doing this. Because we could have then said, you know what, these people don't want this shit, forget this. We would shut down and just do our own thing, right? But we know that there's an energy behind this. Like we said, right now we got 47 people online, right? From wherever. But they recognize that there's something about this called, nationality and birthrights, Moors, Moorish Empire, history of the Moors. All these things are things that are real tangible things that we can actually hold on to, that we can grasp now. So we want to employ you to make sure you get these people's contact numbers. Make sure you bring yourselves together and keep these things going. Support each other. Brother has clothing line, does graphics, fix computers, build computers, whatever. Right? He has that realm that our people could access. You know what I mean? Right? Brother Jed came up, gave his demonstration. You have the chefs in the back. So it's not just a thing of, we're talking about this. There's actual things that are being shown that, okay, you know what, this is actually something that we could probably, just like you're saying, we've been following leaders for the past how much every years that they stay selling us out. Stay selling, like it's not like they're not even secretly doing it. They're doing it open. They're doing it in your face, selling you out. And it's time for the people to take the position and say, you know what? We're not going to deal with the being sold out anymore. We're going to handle our own affairs. We're gonna come together and unite, as people. Like for example, you wouldn't see a quote unquote black whatever like this with other people other than black people in there. Because those people have this thing in their mind that, they're holier than thou and nobody could be as holy as them. When, the individual the first person we met in Montreal was a European. And he's going harder than Asiatics for Moors. He opened his door, he was telling Moors, take his bed, I'll sleep on the floor. He's a European. Went to the house, fridge is full. Whatever we want, fridge is full. Hummus, fruits, vegetables, whatever. He eats meat, all that stuff. He didn't cater to himself for this weekend. This is a European. And then Noble Juali brought up to the Moors, if the European helped me, what the hell's wrong with you guys?
Yeah.
If the European's gonna take, you could put down, you could write down Peter Moon. That's one European. You could Google him or you could YouTube search him. You got videos out there. Peter Moon, Rick Smith are two main ones in modern day that they speak highly of the Moors. They speak not just Earth history. They speak, a spirit entity came to me in a dream and told me about the Moors in some other planet. If a European knows that much and is willing to openly talk about it like that, and our people aren't talking about it like that, don't think that these Europeans are siding with the ones who don't know. Like Brother Jed's example, Brother back there's example, right? These people know what's up. They're waiting on us. They're waiting on us to organize. They're waiting on us to get ourselves together. Like we're saying, in Toronto, we've just received, we got a RCMP correspondent correspondence return and the mayor of the city correspondence return. Just from us letting them know, you know, we're Moors, this is what we're going to be doing, whatever like that. They sent a response. We're taking that as they're recognizing that something's shifting. Because we sent them stuff before and never got no response from them. So something must be going on for them to give us a response, you know? There was some Moors out there who we were talking about, they were selling packages. Packages they got from us for free. They were charging people $5,000. $5,000 for 5 papers. The Law Society got hold of what these people are doing, going to the court pretending that they're, you know, some type of law, whoever, or whatever like that, because they're Moors. So they can go into court, they can say that they're lawyers or whatever. Those people contacted us to see, yo, we're just checking to see if these guys are legitimate or who are they? Because they're saying they're lawyers and all this stuff like that. They don't got no bar cards. We check them out. So are you guys, we don't know them. Well, the $5,000 selling stuff, people, we don't, this is inalienable rights. We don't deal with that stuff, right? Who they had to come to us. They didn't go to them to get some verification. Why would they come to us? Because obviously they had to do their research to realize that, okay, well, there's somebody who's been here longer than anybody else claiming this out here. Because nobody's ever claimed this out here except these people, right? Nobody's ever claimed this. So anybody who's coming up claiming this, we're going to check with those people to see if these people are who they say they are, right? But again, we're stressing the concept of unity with our people between Ottawa and Montreal. We're stressing unity. Make sure you get everybody's contact numbers, email addresses, whatever. And if there's anything whatsoever that the family needs from us to make this thing out here work, like, let us know. This is what we're here for, all right? This is what the whole point of this is. Like we said, you know, in our experience, there's never going to be a full room of people that's on this info. It's going to be 5 people, 3 people, 4 people. You know, you might say something and 2 people show up. You gave out 800 flyers and 2 people showed up. Hey, if it's 2 people, it's 2 people. That's what it is. But like Brother Omar was saying, it's better to have 2 people that you know are going to put their neck on the line and back you with this than 7, 8, 20 people who, you know, they're just whatever. Or yeah, or when it starts going down, oh yeah, now they're
right back.
They don't want to deal with it. Yeah, well, close out a couple questions and we'll close up. Yeah. Once we're done, we'll close up there. Oh yeah.
So go ahead. Something I've noticed, and I was just saying, we should do. I think with that, what we should do, since you know the situation happened to me, and you know, she can be a witness of that. Some of the people here in Montreal is gonna be harder because they know, you know, they've been, you know, asking her like, how come, you know, he's like that? You know, it's gonna be harder if we don't move together. Like, you know what, we should go. You know, if something happened to you, we should, you know, have contact and go present. Because since that happened to me, I've been beaten up, you know, by the enforcement and stuff like that. We record everything, you know, like really everything. And since they really, you know, they're scared of it, and they're like, how come you always move, you know, 2, 3, you know, together? I'm like, because you know, it's we move, you know, as a unit. So they're like, okay, you always need to be some witness. I'm like, yeah, why not? You're gonna beat me up? Oh no, because I always film them. Oh, you don't have to write. I'm like, tell me that again, I'm gonna put you on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So they're like, even the chief, you know, hang on my face, and other people like, you know, bring it up. Like they're like, now they're more scared, and that's why I'm like, okay, we should move, you know, all together, like the brother, you know, if maybe, you know, we were like a team, and he get a problem, and we go there, they'd be more scared because they'll be okay, there's more people. But when you go to the court, you're alone, you know some stuff, you know, they're gonna play with you. But with her and other people that since they'll be going to my domicile, when they come to see me, I film them right away. So they had no choice to give us the children because I go hard on them and since, they always want me, to move, come to see us. I'm like, I'm doing homeschooling. My son want me to move. You're not trying to, treat me like he said, there's always a trick somewhere. I'm like, no, you all come home, but you're going to be filmed. So, it's something that we should do. If somebody has a problem with them, I think we should call each other and go. They're going to be more scared because they're going to be like, okay, he got a team, Maybe he knows something, but he knows something, he knows something, and if everything put together.
And then your team is like body politics, right?
Yeah, body politics.
So you're moving from that civic
Right. That's
unity,
what
right?
I was saying before when he was giving the example with the man in front of the thing.
Yeah.
Someone like the population seeing this, it's gonna make an impact.
Right.
So of course, when you acknowledge whatever and when they back it up, it could go two ways. It's either that get aggressive or
Or they can back up.
Backs up. It's because he's scared of the impact that it's gonna bring. That could bring.
Yeah.
Because negative. Yeah, go ahead.
No, but that's exactly what I'm saying. So that's like saying knowledge is power. The more of us getting more knowledge, and the more of us that's aware of what's going on, that's how they're gonna get scared. And especially when there's a situation, I don't think necessarily once the person, the cops backing up, it's not necessarily to shut down about it and be like, okay, problem solved.
Right.
Actually talk about it. So people could see that situation happen and you could actually defend yourself.
Right.
And that's how they're gonna be scared.
Right.
It's not just taking it, okay, now I'm safe.
Yeah.
No, it's never like that.
It's not only that.
It's not like-
They're not trained for a reaction like that. Like if we are knowledgeable people, they don't know what to do. They have to wait for it to go to court to find out what to do. And even when it goes to court, they still not sure what to do. So that's why too with the trucks and the guy stopping them. They expected him to back down and he didn't back down, so they're like, oh my God, they're robots, right? Because they're acting on the
and now if they're gonna do something, they're gonna do something to that man in front of the cameras.
Exactly.
Now, right?
But then they have no protocol as to if this happened, what do we do?
What do you do? Yeah.
So they're like,
So now, and actually, here what I've witnessed and noticed is that they call on the little computer on the radio, and the radio goes, and then they actually tell them what to do. What to do.
That's what happened to me.
That's what happened to you. That's what happened to me. I just played the recording, and you could hear them in the background. They're going with me. And as soon as that lady came on the radio, came back and was like, I was agree. He was like, oh, come on. Okay, and then here's the apology again, and it's like, right? So a lot of them don't know how to respond because it's literally less than 0.5%.
Yeah,
that's responding like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, and then again, coming to confirm what the sister said, hey, you got one that's on a bad day, you're supposed to also use your own judgment and pick your
battles.
Your battles properly, because that guy could be, and then we know, like the sister Corinne Gaines, she ended up at the end of all of this legally winning, lawful winning, but now you lost the sister, the child lost the mom. Why go through all of that? And at the end, you already know you're in the right. Now you want to lose your life, right? So yeah, we got to know when to say, oh, okay, no problem. Okay, go, take me. It's 20 grand on you right now. Go, 20 grand, and for every minute you got me here, it's 100 grand. It's up to you, right? And it's up to us to say, listen, or pick your battle, right?
Any other questions, comments, or?
So as I said, if anyone or everyone who wants to take a plate of food, we don't have the container, so we have the plate on top of the plate. We can do that. We're starting to wrap up.
We would suggest everyone take a plate because we want to leave with empty stuff. But before we close out, hold on. Before we close out, one more question.
Yeah, and then also, I'd like anyone who would like to be, because this is starting to be the protocol or the sort of the historical thing. I'd like to take a picture with all of us here. It goes nowhere, but in our little thing. And as I said, 10 years from now, when we have the Moorish nation embassy here, you will be there, and your sons and your offspring will go, there was my dad. He was the one, right? So that's what this is for. So I'm hoping you'd all like to be involved in that.
Last question.
For the writs and the claim, right? When you want to proclaim your nationality and let them know what it is, you use the proclamation,
Right,
paper that we have.
Yeah, yeah.
But I wanted to ask, it must have the two witnesses, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the two witnesses can either be him or whoever has
a free national. That would be best. You could just have witnesses, but it would be best if you have witnesses that are your kin.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Because strangers aren't gonna follow what you're.
Right.
You can say, "Oh yeah, just sign this so you can have the witness." Yeah. But if whoever knocks at the door, and you're L, and then somebody who answers the door is talking about, "Oh Jeffrey, I know who Jeffrey is. I signed his papers." Right. So once you have somebody that's kin, and then you have another one right here to help.
Yeah.
Right. That again, the coming together of the people, witnessing each other's stuff. Right. You don't even have to go outside of each other. Witness each other. Get the red print, the red ink pad, put the thumbprint on it, write seal in it, and then that's sealing your documents as a body politic. And then this is how you're gonna maneuver. If you got court and he has court, you guys' papers are gonna be the same to show that you're part of the same body. Your nationality card is gonna look like his nationality card. His paper is gonna look like your paper. Her paper is gonna, things that you say, you're gonna, a highwayman's gonna stop you. Highwayman's gonna stop somebody else, and the two highwaymen are gonna be like, "Hey, I stopped somebody." They said, "Yeah, well, I stopped somebody." He said, "What kind of card did he show you?" He showed this. Well, he showed it. So, right, because it's showing unity. It's showing that you're part of a nation. It's showing that you're recognizing that you don't need them really like that. Once we deal with ourselves, why do Jews have power? Because they keep everything within. Why do Chinese have power? Because they keep everything within. Gong Hoi Fat Choi and all that stuff. But if you're not Chinese, they're not even messing with you like that. Right? So, and again, like recognizing as well that those other people too are also, they might have certain information relative to where you are and what you know. So like some of the Moors, for example, they might use, they might have a situation and it's a European they're dealing with. And then just because they know, Moors know what's going on, they might send a Chinese guy next time.
Yeah.
Just to see. Now you start dealing with a Chinese guy and he's, he forgets gun badge and all that stuff, and he's having a whatever. That's the guy you take his card, put it in your pocket. Just like Sue coming to the house. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, that's a Fez and all. Let me get your card, corporate lady. Just in case anything goes down, I can just give you a ring. You'll remember who I am because of the or the knowledge, right? And then you just use them in that way for the body politics benefit, not necessarily my own or his own or her own or whatever, but anything that you do, like the paperwork that we have is relative to Moors, not individuals.
Right.
You know what I mean? The proclamation that we put out as a Moor Science Temple, that wasn't Grand Sheik's paper and assistant Grand, that was paperwork for the Moors, right? Any interaction we have, it's based on our position as Moors and saying that we understand that you have certain obligations, but those obligations are only on your corporate wards. They're not on the indigenous people. We get it. We understand. You know what I mean? But don't try to coerce us into certain things, right? And again, recognizing that when they start putting the attack on strong, like you're standing up for rights and the attack's getting stronger. So how come they're not recognizing whatever? Because you're right. As soon as they recognize it, it's done for them. As soon as, just like with the highwayman, right? The highwayman realized that, well, before he talked to the lady on the radio, he knew, okay, this one's not one that we can really,
Yeah, by your demeanor.
by the demeanor, by the language that he was speaking. He had him already figured out that, okay, you know what? I'm gonna see what I could get out of, you know, because no matter who they get the ticket from, it's quota for them. Doesn't matter, more, whoever. Once they get a ticket, that's quota.
Right.
That they're getting their little check mark so they can get their little whatever it is they get for quotas, right? Most of the time, without even it going to court and winning or whatever, without paying, they still get their quota points, right? Just by giving the ticket out, just by the action of.
Yeah, because what they do now, they sound on both sides. They can't sort it out, but they just give it.
But they just give it because they already know that they're not going to court for it.
Yeah.
The onus is on the individual. Majority of people, if they fight the ticket, they win.
Yeah, I mean, we've been going digital.
Like that's it. Just check the back. I'm gonna take this to court.
That was in practice.
That's it.
So much.
Their hope is that you get it and you just pay. Get it, pay. Get it, pay. Well, I didn't do nothing wrong. Oh, that's all okay. Get it, pay. No, fight it. See what happens. Anything could happen.
So that everybody's aware. They also hold information on like certain tickets that people who didn't bother with it and use it again. Even if you don't have that car anymore, they don't realize it. So when you get a ticket later on, I say, wait, did I have my car at that time? Because some of the cops, because they're making their quotas, they're just, they have one in file already, so they're trying to get those quotas. So you have to be very
cognizant of.
Yes.
Yeah.
One last question.
Yeah.
About, like my cousin, she's a lesbian, and can you be L whatever about that? Like, what other like?
Well, same thing that we're talking about with Brother Patrick is that as far as Europeans, what they should be doing is doing naturalization with the Moors, right? Because they're foreigners, and in order for them to have true citizenship, they should be dealing with the true government. Our true government has been dismantled. So certain powers we can't really exercise, because in exercising them, it means that the people who are in this case Europeans, if we say, okay, we honor Europeans, we're gonna naturalize them. That doesn't mean that they're gonna go to Canada or whoever and they're gonna say, oh, you got nationalized, oh sorry, we'll leave you alone or whatever, because they know that they're the ones that's supposed to be doing that. On top of that, they're gonna look at her like sellout because she's supposed to be riding with Europeans. How you riding with the Moors when the Moors put you in slavery and all that stuff?
But if she recognized that we are descended, and they are like,
right. So the real acknowledgement is her recognizing her nationality. Like Drew Ali said, everybody has a nationality. European isn't a nationality. Europe's not even a continent. Europe's in Asia. So once they do the research and they find out that, the Dutch, French, Scottish, Irish, English, British, once they realize, right, that they have a nationality, then they would stop being the all capital letter names on the license. They would stop being the Social Security. They would stop being the whatever, but they're going to stop being that and then tie themselves to the Moorish Empire. Right? So what is called is ipso jure Moorish subject. Right? So instead of Canadian, United Statesian, whatever, this is really what Europeans are in America.
But how Patrick got to be now?
Knowledge. He's not L on paper. He's L because he knows that under the jurisdiction of the Moors, I have to make a claim. I'm not making a sovereign claim. I'm not making a claim like I'm an L.
Yeah, symbolic.
Right? I'm in allegiance with the L tribe or the Bay tribe. But I'm not, you know, because clearly they're European. You know, you can't hide. I'm a Bay. Right? You know what I mean?
And reverse, same thing with.
And then it goes the other way. A black guy can't be Smith. You find me somebody from Ghana named Jeffrey. Ain't nobody named that. As soon as you go over there and say, oh yeah, you Ghanaian, yeah. What's your name? Jeffrey. They laugh at that guy. And they'll send him back to America.
Oh, yeah, for quick.
You're not African.
You're supposed to be
You have to have one of those names. You can't have European name and making certain claims, right? So again, like this concept, ipso jure mores subject, is a status in itself that's already established. It's been there. The Europeans don't use it because they've been coerced to think we have to be Canadian, American, whatever, when all those things are fiction. Those aren't real statuses. Those aren't real ties to, because they could only be a national in their own land, so they can't be over here saying that they're national. Because most of them are foreigner, they should have green card or visa or something like that to prove that they're foreign, but they don't even have that. They're just saying, I'm Canadian. So what do you mean? You're European. Nah, well, you know, Canadian laws, and they start going into this thing about proving how they're a corporation.
Just start asking their name. And they're going to give you a Tremblay, Robillard, some European name. So clearly, you know, they're European. They're a European name, and you look like a European. Like a duck. Sorry, sorry.
And what's cool for the, you know, for those who are heading, something like us, like for the Asiatic.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the connection with us then? What?
Well, if we go to what's your boy with the Art of Peace?
Oh, Mariah Yoshida?
Yes. IEHI.
IEA, I thought it was Mariah. Or MOR.
Whatever it is.
No, but it's no H. Go on.
Right? But he's not dark skinned like us or whatever. He's Asiatic. But he has, if we go to Chinese, gonna say, all right, and then European gonna say, but if you say this, it's still this.
You know the guy who made the Transformers? He's a Bay.
Or
Michael Bay.
Okay. Right. Philippines. The moral of the Philippines were the only Philippines who didn't say I'm Filipino. I'm Filipino. They said forget that. That came from King Philip. We're not no King Philippines. That's one clean it up. Right? The morals make sure that, and then in that society, the morals are looked at as, you know, as how the Maroons look in Jamaica. Right? They recognize that, oh yeah, they're on something different or whatever, but they'll never say we're them.
The Japanese accept their history as well.
Yeah.
Check out the word samurai.
Yeah.
Check out the word Nagasaki.
Yeah.
Right.
And they have a huge museum there that shows
Yeah, the
Naga, which is.
And then Sambo is Sambo. Yeah.
And then they even have NGA in China. Inga.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Right?
And so, Inga is also in now Kevlar or Africa too, Enga and Ngu.
Yes.
Which is Enga for the man, for the woman, and Ngu for the man.
For the man. Now, one other thing too with the Asiatic is that the difference with the European and the Asiatic both being foreigner, that the Asiatic is more, just like she's saying, tied to us. So they can say Bay or L or whatever. So they can say, you know, Chu Wang Bay. Right? Because they're Asiatic.
You knew Chuang Bay. You didn't even know that they said Bay. You was like, yeah.
You know? So from the European perspective, it's about knowledge. For the Asian perspective, it's about claiming your bloodline. For the European perspective, it's recognizing that you have a bloodline, your corpse, and that your allegiance is to the Moorish nation. And for Asiatics to realize we are the Moorish nation. Ain't nobody got jurisdiction over us. Either we're governing ourselves or we're going to be governed. Those are the options. No in between, no gray area, no fine line. It's either we're going to be the ones that govern ourselves or prepare to be governed. And again, you don't have to prepare to be governed because we already been being governed. It's not, so really there's only one option. Get out of being governed. Because we're not being governed by people who have our best interests at heart and stuff like that. They're taking your tax dollars. They're going to make you pay insurance for 90 years, never get an accident, and never give you back any finance. What do you mean? Like, why am I not getting back 80% of what I paid in insurance if I never got in an accident for 80 years? But and then the people who's getting the insurance money or the tax money or the whatever, they're going to Cancun every week. Their child goes to #1 school in the planet. You know what I mean? They have a car. Their son, who can't even drive yet, has a car. Their daughter, who's a baby, has a car. And Asiatics only have sneakers worth something. And when you try to tell them, hey, you know, you got $800 sneakers on. You got $1,000 phone. How come you can't pay your rent or whatever? What the hell are you talking about? What do you mean racism and you got $800 sneakers? There's no way. But once we're dealing with the illusion, once the people don't give up the illusion, then the illusion lives. And we're trying to get rid of the illusion and start dealing with reality. Right? Just like you're saying, reality is homeschool your children. Right? Just like Jed. I let my wife go work. I'm going to stay home and take care of your children. Because ain't no way I'm letting them go into these schools out here where they're playing Pink Day and let boys wear dress day and all the BS that they're doing. There's no way that we can just allow that stuff to happen and not take steps to correct these. And not taking anything away from people who have their children in public. Because we know people who have their children there, that at home they're still doing the stuff at home so that their children don't get caught up when they go to public school.
Double time.
Right? They get the double work. So again, we want to thank everybody for being here.
Yes.
We want to give a round of applause for yourself for being here. Of course, we have to thank our caterers. Everybody's full.
Thank you,
much, caterers.
We'll say again too, if people want to take a couple of trays.
Yeah, don't be shy. You know, we want to make sure,
as well as
we leave with empty stuff. So we're just gonna, before we close out. Oh yeah, so again, with regard to the clothing, right? The brother has one on as well, and he also has. And also keep in mind the sigilmancy or the symbology on it is relative to our Moorish culture. It's not Nike, Adidas, and all of that BS. It's our own stuff, which again invokes the energies of the ethers, so that our magic will work a little better, right? Than it's been working. We want to do the picture,
right? And then also, I was thinking, as with Cujo, or maybe it was Digit talking about, maybe the Montreal Moors can put their appellation, maybe what they do, their email, their phone number, and then you guys can work within yourself. Yeah. That dynamic, right? And, yeah, I would love to do the picture ASAP.
Yeah, sooner than later, so we can
right now, so that everyone can just go. And as I said, this is just for posterity. For us, it's not going anywhere.
Hold this up.
Where are we going? You'll come towards me.
Or just
You want to unplug stuff now? Yeah.
I'm just gonna take a picture against this wall right here. Zahmors, peace and love to all. You already know. Islam Wars.
Hopefully someone can take over for me too, so I can get in there. Nice one.
Done?
Oh, I
Sorry.
see, huh?
Yo, watch me, guys.